All right, guys, welcome back to the Unrestrained podcast here. We're on the Lexit Movement 1 on YouTube and all the platforms. I think we're on their X, on Instagram YouTube, as well. Facebook. We're going live. So looks like everybody's jumping on right now. Sorry, guys. Last week we had some problems that some of you guys joined us, and we found out afterwards that the audio on our videos were not coming through. So we must have not been making any sense. But oddly enough, you guys hung out and actually were talking to us, and we had no idea. So yeah, if you guys could let us know how our sound is and if our videos are screwed up, but we don't. And Alfred has assured me that it's all fixed. Right, Alfred?
Yes, sir. That's all fixed.
All right. We'll say hi to the people, Alfred.
What's up, everyone? Welcome. Hey, first of all, want to thank you for joining us. I know that this is it's called the pre-election, right? Stream. Some of you are getting ready. Hey, did you guys all vote? That's a good question. Have you voted, man? You have to vote.
You better vote.
Our life depends on it. All right. So make sure that you make a time. Tomorrow's the last day to go out and vote. So please. If you're a procrastinator and you waited till the last minute, come on now. Tomorrow's the last day. So go out and vote.
All right, guys. So we have our guests back. They came back for more. Why don't you guys introduce yourself to the people?
Go ahead. I'm Andy. This is my wife, Hedieh. We do a podcast called The Living Fearless Devotional.
Yep.
And it's a Christian podcast. We're talking about all kinds of current events and things, and devote a whole hour to different subjects that have to do with relationships, about
walking
what's happening in
Jesus.
Politics, walking with Jesus.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're here. And my wife will tell you she's amazing, a former contractor with the FBI.
Yes.
She was a spy. I was a lowly cop on the beat here in Anaheim Police Department.
Hey.
Yeah, so the last time you guys were here, I had no idea. I just had watched one of your videos that Alfred sent me, and all I knew was that you did not like the school board, and that's pretty much all I knew. And
no, then I love our school board. I hate the teachers union.
Oh,
They're
no, correct.
demonic.
Yes, let me take it back. Yes, you're correct. The teachers union. But yes, I'm glad you guys came back because obviously super awesome conversation last time you guys were here, and I wasn't ready for it. So I had so many more questions, and I'm not prepared because I never prepare for anything. I could like write everything down, and then it's just not.
Never get to it.
I never even read it, or it would still be in my pocket. But yeah, definitely. Last time you guys were here, we were talking about
McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's, and but we're gonna talk about a few things today. This is kind of sorry guys, but since you guys couldn't hear the videos, I'm big. I am on this whole. Well, let me ask the question I asked Alfred last week, and then you guys can answer. If God willing, Trump wins the presidency, what would you guys consider to be what's top on your list? Like, what would you consider to be like a successful presidency for him? But at the end of the day, he's done his 4 years. Like, what would be, I don't know, let's say the top three. Let's do top three things that he accomplishes that you'll be like, awesome.
Improved economy, close the border.
Okay, top three. That's only two.
USC, UCLA,
and better health care. All the things that Bobby Kennedy's after. Better nutrition for the kids. Better education about health care.
Wow.
So those are my three top.
I suspect that those are not going to be on Andy's top three.
Number one.
I realized from the last podcast, Andy and myself are very like-minded. So I'm curious. What do you think, Andy? Have you given us any thought?
I want to begin with revenge.
Yeah, I told you guys we're on the same page.
No, not my style.
Oh my gosh, these people they cannot continue to get away with all the things they have gotten away with. Whether it's the DOJ, FBI, CIA, deep state, all those people they continue, and they will continue until somebody takes a stand.
Okay, so that's one.
Close the border and deport as many of the illegals. Not the illegals, but the people that have committed crimes, the homicide suspects, the rapists, all the criminals that on top of, because the reason I hesitate is because coming across the border illegally is a crime.
Yeah.
They've seemed to have forgotten that is criminal, but the additional dangerous people, the people that are the terrorists. They really need to be hunted down.
Yeah, Mellow Media. So I think Andy was being sarcastic with vengefulness. But yeah,
I don't think so. Was he?
Well, okay, so I'll clarify what Andy's saying because our top three are the same. So this is so we're on the same page. God is a God of justice, right? So my perspective on all this is all the things that as far as the economy and all that it's important. Obviously, we all have to make a living, but I would argue that if people aren't held accountable, I'm going to use accountable, not vengeful, because it's not vengefulness. People have committed crimes, right? And they're not being held accountable. So if Alfred, is my sound okay, guys? I'm always
sounds great, bro.
All right, sorry. I 100% agree, Andy. I think that at the end of the day, if the economy isn't fixed, if we still have inflation, I would say, actually, let me take one. I'll replace mine. I'm going to say this. Number one is holding people accountable. And what I mean by that is anybody who committed a crime, and in order to weaponize our government and our judicial system to go after political enemies and threaten our First Amendment rights, they need to be held accountable.
Can I ask you a question? So if Hillary Clinton gets indicted, but a loaf of bread costs you $10, you're good?
If after 4 years he was able to accomplish that and could not, and my loaf of bread is still $4?
No, it's $10.
Or $10? Yes.
You okay with that?
I won't like it. I won't like it, but I get, because
that sounds like your priorities.
Well, no.
Vengeance is the Lord's.
Well, again, it's not vengeance. He's a God of justice.
Justice, but it just comes on his timing.
We have to, well, how about his timing is like, Trump, like in the next year.
Listen, they would have put Trump in Rikers for a made-up crime that they had to create because they couldn't find another crime for him.
Right.
So they would, if they could have, and they still might try to put him in Rikers for that.
Well, look,
but we're not going to put away Fauci for killing millions of people with his experiment that went highly wrong.
Exactly. So what's to prevent another Fauci situation? What's to prevent another hoax where people are being locked down and jobs are being destroyed?
True.
Okay. And what's to prevent them going after private citizens? Elon Musk, for example, trying to put him in jail. We were just talking about this, where they're trying to go after him for not hiring asylum seekers, right? When it's illegal for him to hire non-residents of the United States. So he's being charged with a crime. He's being charged for something that if he were to violate or comply, right, and hire asylum seekers, he would be violating a different law.
Right. That's two laws are in conflict.
So it's anybody with common sense understands that this is weaponizing of our government, right? And why is this being done? It's because he's supporting somebody that they don't like, and it's a problem.
Well, do you think the prosecution of whoever, Fauci, Hillary, Hunter, would solve the judicial reform problem that we have? I don't know if that will solve it. Putting them in jail does not fix the system. I think we need judicial reform, and not just of the criminal system, but
and I'll let you take so because you're a police officer.
Well, one thing at a time. But I think, considering the administration that he seems to be putting together, that we'll be able to fix the $10 loaf of bread with Elon Musk. Trump will say, Elon, take care of the economy.
He doesn't know the system. He won't be able to.
I don't know if it's Vivek who he's planning on taking care of, DOJ, whoever it is, take care of what's happening with our criminal system. You don't have these people doing it. He'll be orchestrating it because that's what he does best. He does best at orchestrating.
Well, to answer your question, no, I do think that it would fix the problem because obviously it's a deterrent. That's why we have a prison system, is to deter people. Well, it's supposedly reform, right? It's so there's two things, right? We're trying to deter people from committing crimes, and we're trying to reform people supposedly, right? So, I think it fixes it because obviously now I would hope that if people go to jail, if they deserve to go to jail, then the next person up's going to think twice. I would think that Anthony Weiner would think twice.
You would think,
right? I mean, so why would you blame these people for continuing to do what they're doing when nobody has done anything about it? I don't blame them. I mean, we're seeing, if you believe what you see on X, we were just talking about this because these things are unverifiable, where you see people in line to vote in, I believe it was in Atlanta or Georgia, and they're closing the line at 1:45 in the afternoon. That's exactly what they did in Arizona. The playbook's already there. They got away with it for the Kerry Lake election, right?
Yep.
So why would you not do that? It's a proven method. Nobody was held accountable. So yeah, I believe the short answer is that yes, I think it would fix the problem.
And we can make prisons full again.
Yeah. Yes.
MPF.
that was
Hey,
witty.
Thank you.
That was witty.
Yeah. So it, I think that all of this is a major threat to our First Amendment rights. I think this is why Elon Musk is joining Trump, because, he's big on he's rightfully identifying that our First Amendment is under attack, which is why he bought X or Twitter, right? Which thank God he did that. Which brings me to something else. Don't you guys think it's interesting that most of the people that are, well, I don't know what we have a problem with believers. We're lagging, guys.
Really?
Look, Elon Musk is not a believer, and the man is stepping up to save freedom.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He's stepping up. What's his name? I don't know. RFK, he's probably Catholic, right? RFK.
Yeah, should be. His family is.
They're probably Catholic, but I mean, is he like a devout? I mean, do you think that I don't
He's not
know.
known for that.
Yeah, I don't see the fruit that
That's a
would
good
say
question.
that, he Catholic by name, probably, right? Tulsi Gabbard, I don't know what's her status. I don't see any indication that she's I'm not saying she's not. You guys can, but I was thinking about this today, that it's like, do I believe Trump's I don't think I don't see the fruit. You know what I mean? Like, yes, okay, people get excited because, he says, "Oh, God saved me and it was a miracle."
Yes.
Atheists say that. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, one of our favorite pastors had a meeting with him. So he was at the last meeting that Trump had of a bunch of pastors, and they said that they asked him point blank, like, "Are you a believer in Christ?" And he did not answer that question affirmatively. So they said in the past, privately they say he has been born again, but he says when we asked publicly, he did not acknowledge that.
Right. So as a believer, you can't. As a believer, you wouldn't do that,
right?
You know what I mean? And
you would just say it.
A true believer would have no problem with saying it.
Yes.
And so yes, but
his policies are the most
exactly
closest to what our beliefs are. And
so I'm just calling out the fact that we have non-believers, what I would consider either are agnostics or people just claiming, or lukewarm,
deist
or lukewarm Christians, out there standing up actually for godly principles.
Yes.
And so, I mean, at our church, I think I mentioned this last time, our young, he's a new pastor that, our pastor passed away. So he's been here for like a year now, but this is the first time he's been at our church during an election. And he has been really pushing people to vote.
Oh, good.
And our former
Christians historically have not voted.
32 million are expected not to vote in this election.
Wow.
Yeah, and one of my brothers in Christ said we were at a fundraiser, and he told me he wasn't going to vote, and his problem was because Trump won't write out condemn abortion now. Like he's not condemn abortion, but he won't. He's not endorsing a federal ban on abortion, right? And I don't get this. I don't understand that rationale. As if we don't have them redefining marriage and sex. Like there's so many other.
And he got it out of the federal system.
Right.
He brought it to the state, so we should at least be recognizing
we
that.
can't be one issue people, anyways.
Right.
We can't die on that hill and then just let the whole country go to dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't
know
think
what
it
you're
will
about to
work.
say.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna skip to Letitia James, but I will mention Letitia James. I guess she came out, the New York Attorney General, and apparently she's warning people. She says, I guess she's concerned about people using Chat GPT or AI to get election information. She's asking them to go to reliable sources. So, I
Like
skip,
what?
Like CNN.
yeah, like CNN, right?
MSNBC.
Yeah. So she's, this is a quote here, says all voters deserve accurate information about where and when and how to vote. Said James, my office is testing an AI chat box, found many providing false and misleading information about voting, threatening New Yorkers' ability to exercise their right to vote, which I guess I could agree. I mean, why are you going on Chat GPT to find out where your nearest poll is? I mean, I'm guessing that's what she's describing.
We ask Alexa all kinds of questions, but she's dumb. So we didn't
Alexa's
stop
an
asking.
idiot, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if ChatGPT is any smarter than Alexa, but I
Yeah, I did a whole
wouldn't
video,
bother.
video of asking about the attempt assassination on President Trump. And,
Oh, right, I saw that.
yeah, she said there's no proof that President Trump was attempted assassination.
Oh wow, I didn't hear that one.
Yes.
But I wanted to go to the next clip out, Alfred. So I wanted to play this interview because we were talking about the number one issue in my book is, again,
Revenge.
Revenge.
Justice.
Okay.
But Jim Jordan was
The way
on
Christians talk about revenge.
Right.
It's called justice.
Thank you.
justice. Yes, it's justice. We have to have justice. And Jim Jordan's on PBD, and so I love Jim Jordan's response to PBD asking him. I don't think he asked him directly, hey, are you guys going to go after people? But the subject of, Trump being accused of jailing people came up. And so Jim Jordan, this is kind of what his response is on that whole conversation. So let's go ahead and
You want to give them a heads up, and if they don't hear.
yeah, if you guys don't hear the audio, let us know right away.
Raise your
guys.
hand, please.
Yeah,
raise your hand.
your hand, please,
Yeah.
because again, we're gonna try to catch it, but help us out here.
Yep.
Here we go. Here's the first one. See.
Okay, so how easy is it how easy is it within FBI, within DOJ, within CIA, within all these institutions to identify who the swamps are?
Well, it starts at the top. I actually think we use the FBI as an example. I think the vast majority of the agents are good people. We have 2 former agents who work for the committee. They're great guys. They're right out of Central Casting, Irish name, Italian name, from Pittsburgh and Cleveland. They're just good guys who help us as we're looking at them. They tell us, here's how they would do. So it's been really. I think the agents are great people, but it's the people at top. It's the people in DC that are the problem. If you go back to the whole spying on Trump's campaign back in 2016, when it was Strzok and Page and all the Klein Smith, the lawyer for the FBI, who lies to the FISA court, changes an email, turns it around 180 degrees to get the warrant to go spy on folks associated with President Trump's campaign. That's the problem. These weren't like agents who came up through the streets in Pittsburgh and Cleveland and New York and Rose. These were like lawyers who were working in DC for the FBI. And you saw the bias
whatever you can send to the campaign, we'll put it into commercials. We're doing a lot of commercials, and they're really good.
Oh, we'll get a Trump ad in here.
Okay,
the disdain they had. Remember the one email from Peter Strzok to Lisa Page. He's in the Walmart in Virginia, and he's in the Northern Virginia. And he says, "I can smell the Trump supporters." It's like the disdain they have for us. Country folk like me from Ohio and folks across the heartland and everything else. So, yeah, there's
who can Trump fire? Who can he not fire?
I've encouraged, and I've said this to the press, but I believe it. Come in, fire everyone you're allowed to fire. And then, frankly, fire a few people you're not allowed to fire. Make them take you to court to send a message like there is a new sheriff back in town, and we're going to make this agency, we're going to make this government work for the people. And then the real thing he's looking to do is put Elon in charge of making the government a little more efficient, for goodness sake. Which so I think that is the attitude that I think his team has. Certainly the attitude I think the president has.
So when you say come in and fire everybody, and some you're not supposed to fire, so what's the number? You just said earlier, 12,000 people in the history of America have been members of Congress. It's a very elite organization. It's very honorable to be one of 12,000. Hasn't happened that many times, and God knows how many people have lived in the U.S. since 1776.
Yeah.
What is that number of how many people to fire to clean house?
Well, there are certain people, historically, of course, you come in, we'll use the Justice Department since, we're on the Judiciary Committee.
The Justice Department.
You fire all the U.S. attorneys, just like there's, I think, I forget what the number, 100, I forget the number of U.S. attorneys in the districts around the country. You fire all them.
You could do that.
I think you come in and get rid of the FBI director. You come in and get rid, obviously, the cabinet's going to be new. But there's a level of people at the top of these agencies that are political appointments. I would like, you got to get rid of all that, I think. And then if there's some level below where you want to, like, this person, maybe they need to go too.
Go ahead.
And just, again, to demonstrate.
So after listening to this, I'm guessing that what you're going to say is it's the low level, the ones he's talking about, the underlings, which, no disrespect, but, the lower level.
Yes.
Those are the ones that are harder to get rid of.
Yes. Those are the ones. Yeah. Unless you're going to go to court to get rid of them. And so there's a couple of things. So he's absolutely right. Anyone that's appointed, that's not a civil servant, you can fire.
Right.
The thing is that as right now in Washington, what's happening is a lot of people are transferring from appointments to civil service. Every time an administration changes, that's what they do. They start to stack the deck into the civil service so that they cannot be fired. So that's one. Yeah. So the people that you would have wanted to fire last week, you'll not be able to fire by January. Okay. So, two, you won't know the ones that, see, he couldn't answer the question, who's the swamp?
Right.
When you go in, you really don't know who's the swamp. You don't know who are the people that are stopping everything that you do. So you take out the obvious. Okay, we're going to take out Chris Wray and we're going to take out a couple of others, but people are hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
And that's the ones that you won't know. And Elon for sure won't know. Vivek for sure won't know. They're going to go in and they won't even know how to operate the telephone. They're going to go in there. They won't even be able to access their email because they don't know how.
Oh, Lord. Well, no, that's kind of discouraging. Forget it, guys. Nobody's going to jail.
No, we can use ChatGPT, huh?
Yeah.
Help us, huh?
And if you start to piss off all of the secretaries and assistant secretaries in that office, you won't even be able to get a pen.
Wow.
Oh, so you won't get staples or anything?
You won't get anything. You literally won't give you a notepad.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They'll tell you it's not on the budget.
Well, I mean, look, I guess I guess we at least know the ones from the last time, like your Christopher Wrays, right? All, like you said, all the attorney generals, just get rid of all of them. Start new, start fresh. But then the question is, okay, who do you bring in?
Who do you bring in? Who's got a security clearance? Because like we said last time, a security clearance, they can stall that for years.
Yeah.
So that it would be past the administration before somebody gets in. And that's why Trump started to fill positions with people that were recommended to him that were in the swamp already because their clearances were parked.
Right.
So it was easy to slot them into an office. And I wanted to bring up another point I was telling my husband that was infuriating to me. When he met with Muslim community members in Michigan, what did he do? Besides his daughter, Tiffany's married to a Muslim guy. Yeah. So her father was brokering relationships, but he brought in old Muslim Brotherhood guys to broker those relationships that we've been fighting against and suing and investigating for 25 years. But those same cast of characters were in his meeting with Muslim leaders.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This swamp is deep.
Something
wide.
Unrelated to what you were just talking about, but Andy McCabe you worked for.
Yeah. And I was hired by Andy McCabe.
And he's kind of but these guys are kind of like chameleons.
Yeah.
They can look like
nice guys.
Like they're with you 100%. And then at night they're stabbing you in the back.
Absolutely. I mean, the Muslim guy that was in charge at DOJ for our project at FBI literally prevented us from having policy implemented for 2.5 years with a smile and no response. Yeah, can you change this paragraph? Went back 6 months later, changed a paragraph. This one's a little bit of a problem too. Can you fix that too?
Yeah.
That 2.5 years.
Yeah, man. So, you just totally ruined my.
I'm sorry.
my hopes and dreams. But because what you're saying makes sense, and this is the problem is you have to know the system. Yes. And I would hope that man,
you need allies.
You've had 4 years to come up with a plan here. for Trump. And I just feel like there's no excuse. And this is the other thing I was thinking about since our last conversation, because you said the word public servant. And so to me, it's what needs to change is we cannot have people working for the government that we can't get rid of. You're not a public servant at this point. If there's contracts and that make it so this difficult for me to just fire you without getting sued, how are you now a public servant? I'm almost like I'm your servant. I'm like there's a problem here, right? So there has to be some sort of reform to that whole system. We have to make them public servants again.
Yes. Make the government work again.
Yeah.
Here we go with another one. But I mean, how does nobody get fired at the Secret Service after Trump gets shot? How does not one single person get shot?
Because they're all civil servants. No appointments in the Secret Service.
That's the craziest thing. I want to believe that President Trump does have some things happening in the background.
He does. He said he on Tucker. He said, he's like, I know better this time.
Yes. So I have a feeling there are some things that he has in place, some people that he has in mind. And I mean, after all, I think I was one of the few people that thought J.D. Vance would be his vice presidential selection.
Yeah.
They did pretty good to keep that a secret. They suffered from leaks like nobody's business the first time around.
Yeah.
I think just that example of that didn't leak out is they have a lot more knowledge now about how to handle things.
No, that's a good point. Alfred, can you queue up the next tab? Yep. So I wanted it. No, don't exit out of it. Oh.
No.
Did you exit out of it right now?
Yes. So moving on.
I was sorry.
Yeah, moving on. You didn't see anything.
Wow. Okay. That ruined my plans.
No.
No. What was the next one after that?
It was Joe Rogan and climate change.
Yeah, we can hold on. We can play this video here, but because it's on the same subject. To this point here is J.D. Vance. So before this, we were going to listen to the clip of. I'll just tell you what it was. He just said, "Go to the." I'm like, I can see you hovering over the X, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, you said, "Go to the next
tab." Yeah. But so Trump was on Joe Rogan, and this is one of many times that I've heard Donald Trump on that issue talk about how on his first term he didn't go after Hillary Clinton, and he said the reason he's saying he did not go up because it would have been, according to him, bad for America, and it would have been, what would it have looked like to fire the former First Lady of the United States, the former Secretary of State? According to him, that would have been bad for the country. And I have a problem with that because there's been maybe 2 interviews. I think the one was with, the other one was Dr. Phil, which we played here on the podcast also, when Dr. Phil was talking to him about vengeance and retribution and how vengeance and retribution wouldn't be good for the country.
Right.
And at that time, Donald Trump did not push back on that because I believe what I believe is going on is that they're trying to create a narrative preemptively that this is about vengeance and retribution and not about justice. And so this is where Trump is not very good at understanding what's really going on when questions are being framed that way. He needs to quickly, and this is what makes JD so good, and what makes guys like Vivek really good, is that they don't allow that kind of stuff to happen. They will quickly identify and push back on that.
But could it be that Trump's giving that same response because he believed it then and he still believes it now? That I don't think it's good for the country. Regardless,
that's my concern. Yes,
but regardless,
you're probably correct, and that's my concern.
So he's not being manipulated. He just doesn't believe it's good for the country, regardless of what they did to him.
Well, 2 things. I think that when he's asked that question, he needs to quickly respond again, push back against that narrative, and say, "Well, whoever is asking the question." If people break the law and they committed crimes, that's not vengeance and distribution. That's just justice.
Yeah.
Vengeance and distribution would do exactly what they're doing to him, was just making stuff up and finding something to put him in jail for.
Right.
That would be vengeance and retribution. But if you, opening investigations, and
No,
if
but I
people
think
are
what
committed crimes, that's justice.
But what he was saying was, I think it's bad for the country to indict her for crimes that she did commit. He's
How?
not saying she didn't commit them.
I want
He's just saying that
somebody to ask him why. Because how is people being above the? We're supposedly a nation of laws, aren't we?
Used to be. We used to
We
be.
used to be.
I don't know anymore.
But that's what I'm saying is like we're supposedly a nation of laws. So
Yes,
with that line of thinking, you're basically saying that we're not. We're not a nation of laws.
for most people,
Right.
we are.
That there's different rules for them and than there is for us, because unfortunately for me, I'm not, a first lady or a former secretary of state. That's the
For
problem.
Christians, Mexicans, and blacks, the law applies.
Right.
Well,
That's a fact.
it's true. For brown people.
Yes.
Yeah. Who is that? Oh, that. Looks like everybody's finding who's what is it? Melodia?
Melodia. Yeah, I think.
I love people's
don't know
names.
that.
That's pretty creative, Melodia.
Yeah.
I saw some comments she put up there, something about serving our white masters
Right.
or something like that. Which is actually pretty racist, but
There's a Jimenez on there.
It's a pretty common name, love.
what she say? You can't get rid of all the AGs. Oh, geez. Okay, that's pretty funny. So these are appointed positions, right?
Well, let me clarify that. Some of them may be civil servants. So if they are appointments, people that are appointed can be fired. If it's a civil servant that has risen through the ranks, then I do not believe they can be
But
fired
aren't
without
attorney generals?
consequences.
Isn't an attorney general of a state an elected position?
Oh, sorry, attorney generals. I thought we were talking about the U.S. attorneys. Sorry, Jordan was talking about the U.S. attorneys.
Yeah.
Not the AGs.
Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So yeah.
AGs are elected.
Take that,
Jim
Melo
Jordan was
Diaz.
talking about the U.S. attorneys.
But yeah, listen to JD Vance, because the issue comes up against here, and we will talk about JD Vance after this because I have a lot to say about this guy. But yeah, let's go ahead and play the clip, Alfred.
Eric Holder, who was Obama's attorney general, was found in contempt of Congress, or at least was, there was Congress found him in contempt. It was never litigated. He was never tried to put in jail. There was no court case around it. The contempt of Congress that Steve Bannon engaged in is that the J6 committee, or one of these, Banana Republic committees from the congressional Democrats, they issued him a subpoena. He, under the advice of his lawyers, felt that he couldn't actually respond to the subpoena because executive privilege applied. They held him in contempt of Congress, and they threw him in prison for it. A charge that has been levied against multiple Democrats. Republicans never tried to throw anybody in prison over it. Steve Bannon just got out of prison. Kamala Harris is literally using the power of government, has already used the power of government to jail her political opponents. And she's saying that Donald Trump is going to do the thing that he didn't do and she did when they were in respective positions of power.
Do you think it's because they're worried that if he gets into power and he gets back in the office, that he's going to start investigating a lot of this stuff, and the 51 former intelligence agents?
That's exactly what they're afraid of.
Yeah.
They're afraid of consequences. They're afraid of, and look, do I think the 51 intelligence agents who signed that letter should go to prison? No, but should they be stripped of their security clearance? Absolutely, I do. Right? They lied. They used their position of authority and lied to the American people about something that was in the national interest. If there are no consequences for that, then what are we doing?
And they're probably very concerned with a trial that's going to reveal what the elements of that particular story really were. Like,
there's a lot of corruption there. There are, I'm sure, higher ups. There are people who said one thing in public but said something else in private. There probably is, at some level of that whole thing, people who maybe perjured themselves or at least unethically lied. Look, there's a lot going on there, but Donald Trump is not going out there and has never said, I want to arrest you because you're a Democrat. He's never said, I want to arrest you because you disagree with me. He's never said, I want to censor you even because you engage in disinformation. What he has said is that we should investigate some of the obvious sources of corruption in the United States government. That's not going after your political opponents. That's what Kamala Harris did, actually.
Well, one of the things that he's talked about pretty openly is that he could have gone after Hillary
Let this play.
Clinton, and he didn't because he thought it would look bad for the country.
Yes.
And it's true. I mean, he really could have. She did commit crimes.
The FBI, a Democrat who's supporting Kamala Harris, said that she committed, I think, not just crimes, but maybe felonies. She committed felonies, and what Donald Trump did is said, you know what? It's bad for the country. A lot of my voters would love me to prosecute Hillary Clinton, but it's bad for the country, so I'm not going to do it. That is the exact opposite, of course, of what Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have done. A 4-year-old.
What are your thoughts on that, Andy? What are your thoughts on that? He didn't go after her, and look at where we're at now.
That is true. Remember also that he was going to have to get elected for the second term. And so I think there's some thoughts that have to go along with that, should I go after her? Yes. How is this going to affect my reelection? I think every president thinks about how something's going to affect their reelection.
Good point. I don't totally disagree. I guess at the end of the day, though, if people commit crimes, they have to be held accountable. Because remember, it's like when he was running for president, the whole lock her up, like that was I would argue that was the mandate he was given. Like if we I think we kind of
crooked Hillary.
Yeah, right. Crooked Hillary. Like if we go back and try to remember those times, it's like it was just as bad then. We that backed him up, MAGA, talking about make America great again. To me, when I hear make America great again, is making us a country of laws again, right?
Yeah.
Bringing law and order back again. Law and order was his big talking point.
Yeah.
Right? So I now that I'm saying it out loud,
he should have
done it.
Looking back,
yeah,
he should have.
Yeah.
But I kind of understand.
He didn't want to look
the idea
vengeful.
about. Hedieh and I have talked often about our idea of the United States and government.
Been red pilled
15 years ago, 20 years ago. Was completely different than it is now. Like the conspiracy theories, or some of these things that we thought that's crazy to even think that. Yeah. It's crazy to think that we didn't actually land on the moon. And now I'm thinking, you know what? You might be right.
Box.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, had he done it, had he actually put her in jail, which he wouldn't have been able to, your point, because he didn't know who the players were and the people with the keys and the things that can block and stop things from happening. But had he actually gone after her and actually been successful and put her in jail, he probably would have got reelected anyways, because people would have been afraid of shenanigans. I mean, if they see her going in jail, do you think that these people that coordinated the election, fraud, or were coming after him with the whole Russia hoax?
And I think
they probably would have backed off, like, well, I don't want to be next.
And I think in hindsight, he thought the opposite. He thought, if I leave her alone, then when I get out, they'll leave me alone. Like, they'll understand the ethics of not doing that to your opponents. Like, he was trying to create a moral, ethical standard.
Yeah.
But he
didn't work.
Made a huge mistake. He didn't realize they do not have morals.
Yeah.
They do not care.
Which is why my point is that I will not consider this a successful presidency if he doesn't take care of this.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Because it won't matter if inflation is low if we're still worried about being put in jail simply for having this podcast. I mean, that's where we're headed. That's the direction. The things that we're saying right now, we can literally go to jail for.
Yeah, I'm starting to warm up to this idea of justice. I don't like it when it's called revenge.
I was doing a live broadcast today, and 5 years later, I said something about the vaccine, and oh no, they're going to cancel me. I mean, it's like, this is crazy that I can't say.
You can't say the V word.
My opinion about a vaccine.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Now
you just ruined this one too. Thanks a lot.
Think of everybody involved in putting people that were, the J6 citizens that were there.
That breaks my heart.
Right? That were there. You don't think that's high priority? Like, these people, whoever put these people in jail, they were innocent. Maybe the two people in there out of think about it. Out of everybody that was there for J6, how many people do you think actually committed a crime? Like, how many of them? Right? I agree. Like, maybe 3 people, maybe 3 individuals there were there like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of the situation and break a window or maybe kick a door.
Even the idea of trespassing, when the law enforcement officers in charge of the property are saying, come on in.
Right.
Trespassing is no longer a crime.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing that we have to because JD brings it up there where, the whole J6 committee, everybody involved, to me, has to be, because Does it matter if your bread is cheaper if you have to worry if you have no more free speech?
Yeah, no, it's a big issue.
It won't matter.
And I'm curious about this issue that JD brought up about Steve, which is I'm so glad he brought that up because that was extremely vengeful for them to do because nobody's ever been prosecuted for that crime before.
Right.
But if we do that, if Trump gets in and does that back, will that mean then the next time we have government, it's not going to happen? That's what I'm saying. Like, what's at the root of allowing this to happen over and over again? How do we reform the system to stop it being possible? Not just by putting 3 people in jail. How do we stop the process?
I don't think we can look at it as punishment any longer. It just has to be, we have to start enforcing the law.
Yeah, I agree.
And no matter who you are.
Well, that's what they did with Steve. They enforced a law that nobody's ever enforced.
Well, then we just have to do that.
Yeah.
If that's the standard, then we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. You put Steve Bannon in jail, then we need to put these people in jail that they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, like
and make it the law. You cannot show up if Congress calls you with a subpoena to appear. You have to show up. Because that's kind of where that problem starts too. It's like what I was talking about at one of the high schools. When you have a principal that's not enforcing the dress code, not enforcing smoking in the bathroom, then it gets out of hand. And now you have a completely different culture because you're not enforcing the laws. You just simply go back to enforcing the law.
Well, I also want to remind you that in Steve Bannon's case, also the issue was that Trump had
executive
privilege. So
he was like in the position Elon Musk was
in. Right.
There were 2 conflicting laws.
Right.
But I think to Andy's point is he could have showed up and plead the 5th or say, I refuse to answer on the grounds that it is my executive.
Correct. Yes. In hindsight, that's probably what he should have done.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have gone after him.
Exactly.
Right. So
they couldn't.
Right. They couldn't. There would have been no crime committed for them to try to put on.
Right.
Him. But yes, I think that's. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with my sound, Alfred. But anyway,
sometimes you back up.
And I think so.
You're too close.
No, but no, but yeah, I think like Andy said, I 100% agree. That's how we fix the problem because we don't. That was the argument that Dr. Phil was saying to Trump. He was laying out the case that he was discouraging him and painting this as vengeance and retribution because he was saying it's going to create a cycle. We're already in this cycle. We're in a cycle, in a one-way cycle of the left attacking, abusing the law, weaponizing the government.
Yeah,
we take it. So what are we gonna do? I mean, if we continue on this path, they're like a bully. Until you punch the bully back, they're not gonna stop. But in this case, we would simply implement the law. Let's start enforcing the law equally both ways, and it'll take care of it. We got to stop allowing the left to get away with the craziness that they're getting away with.
Well, this is what we do in law enforcement with certain areas.
Broken windows theory.
Yeah, the broken windows. Thank you. Yeah. Look at you. But like down the street here, we had a place called Little TJ. It was right across the street from Disneyland. And there came a point where we just stopped going in because they were just selling drugs and beating each other up and stabbing each other. Yeah. And so it just became one of those things. Well, let them kill each other if they want to kill each other. Yeah. And then one day we go, you know what? It's getting out of hand because now it's spreading out to different parts of the community. And we go, okay, we're going to start towing cars that are old registration. We started going in and arresting people for drinking alcohol in public. People, you just started enforcing all the laws, and wow, kids started playing in the street again. People, were able to walk to the store and where they weren't able to walk to the store before, and you just begin to change the culture. You just simply got to enforce the laws that are in place.
And that's literally a legal theory, a law enforcement theory called the broken windows theory.
Oh, well, there
that you even have to repair the broken windows. I mean, you have to enforce laws where they break windows.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right. Alfred, can you not exit out of the next tab? Can you just go to the next tab so I know what's coming up next? Yeah. Yeah, so I was but yeah, guys. So on the chat, if you guys can put your, you can just put your top priority. I wonder what everybody's top priority. If there's one thing that you want Trump to accomplish, and if there was nothing else, if there's only one thing he can do and nothing else was done, what would it be? Put it on the chat. I'm curious how many of you people agree with me and Andy, or how many of you don't? Because in my opinion, it won't matter if your milk is cheaper if we got to worry about our free speech.
We need prayer back in school.
Yep.
And the 10 Commandments. Agreed.
So I was telling Alfred.
I die on that hill.
I was telling Alfred that I was listening to the I like Joe Rogan, right? And like people already mentioned, he sounds like he endorsed Trump. But one of the problems, and I'm not just going to pick on Joe Rogan because I've talked about Cuomo, what's his name too out there? What's the British guy?
Pierce Morgan.
Pierce Morgan.
Pierce Morgan, right? Pierce
all over
Morgan
the place.
all of a sudden has reinvented himself, right?
Like, who are you today?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you know, look, guys, I struggle with like criticizing them because I'm okay with people like learning and growing, but I guess with them, it's just like with Pierce Morgan, I think it's more of I don't think it's genuine. I think it's a strategic move because I think he's smart enough to understand that, you know, in order for him to survive in media, he needed to go more center or center right.
Well, he likes being on Fox because they have a larger audience than CNN.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he goes, I got to more align with my Fox people.
Yeah. And I think it's strategic, right?
Yeah.
And I think the same goes
Dr.
for
Phil did the same, no?
Well, I don't know. Was Dr. Phil liberal though?
Oh yeah, maybe we just didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think we knew his
I mean,
politics.
he was a darling of Oprah.
Yeah. I just think he became political, but yeah, I have nothing to go back and look at and say, okay, he was a liberal.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
And then the same thing goes for Chris Cuomo, right? Chris Cuomo, all of a sudden now, you know, he's kind of trying to reinvent himself, but he's struggling with that because he was like the top guy of wokeism, right? and he will not apologize, but I will give Joe Rogan a pass here to a certain. I don't think this is malicious, but I don't know if the rest of you guys notice. I'm taking you guys back because I want to remind everybody that Joe Rogan, and we all know he was pretty lefty, okay? And to point this out and lay out the case here on the issue of climate change, okay? I'm going to walk you guys through. This was Joe Rogan 5 years ago. Okay, 5 years ago, he's having this climate change conversation with this journalist. Okay, and this was you can start it from the front. I'll tell you when to stop. But this was Joe Rogan on climate change 5 years ago. Okay, hit play, Alfred.
One of the problems with climate change is that human beings like to react to things that are immediate and right in front of them. And I think for us, it's very difficult to see the future, especially if it's inconvenient, especially if it does something to inconvenience or get in the way of our day-to-day routine. And that seems to be what's happening here. And that seems to me, excuse me, that seems to me to be why people are so willing to dismiss it so flippantly, because in front of them right now, it's not an issue. In front of them right now, this very second, this very day, I'm going to go to Starbucks. It's right there. It's open. Look, I'm outside. It's 65 degrees out. Global warming is not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think that's. I mean,
so what I'm hearing him say, because in this, he's for global warming here. Okay, we won't play the whole thing, but if what he's saying here is that those of us that do not believe in man-made global warming, it's because it's inconvenient. You know, we don't want to change our lifestyle. It's, you know, in order for us to acknowledge it, that means that, you know, we have to make sacrifices, and we're not willing to do that. I mean, is that your interpretation of what he just said?
Sure.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's hit play. Let's see. This is where he's at right now. Let's hit play. Just to see what else he says.
totally true, and I feel it in my own life. Like I mean, I've been working in this material so long. I know it so deeply, and yet when I look out the window, I'm like, you know, things are fine.
Yeah.
And I think that has a really powerful anchoring effect. Like, we expect the world of the future to look like the world as it does today, but all the science says that's totally naive.
Yeah.
And we're going to have at least twice as much warming as we've had to this point.
Baby.
And I think we need to think about the future.
The thing when they say all the science, but they don't show you the science.
Get through the next tab, Alfred.
Like, where's the science?
And who said the world's supposed to look like it does today?
Yeah. So there, you guys can go back. I mean, I could do a whole episode of how many times Joe Rogan has talked about climate change and many other issues, but again, I don't think it's malicious in his case. I think that he's evolved because he's had so many guests with so many different points of views, right? I mean, to his credit,
climate change.
Yeah, he's had a bunch of guys come in there and debug climate change. So this is him today. This is the one with is this with Elon right here, Alfred?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's talking to Elon, right? And this is the beginning of the podcast today, and they're talking about like diet and food, and that somehow gets them to global warming because Joe Rogan talks about how food, meats, I guess, animals there's the hoax that animals actually what did he say? Farm.
Cows fart.
Yeah. Well,
Gas?
no. What do they use the term for?
Farm raised?
Yeah, not like machine farming, not farming, but
Why don't we listen to the
like
clip?
these. Yeah, let's listen to the clip. I can't remember right now, but you'll get the gist. Hit play.
Yeah, but
like I did switch to like steak and eggs for breakfast, and I found that's like a power up.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we're all
I know what.
overrun with carbohydrates.
Yeah, totally.
And you just like carbohydrates make this big crash, the rise and the
Yeah,
crash,
totally.
the rise and the crash.
Yeah.
You stay flat if you eat like a primarily high protein, high fat diet.
Yeah.
Your body runs off ketosis, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, so I just have like steak and eggs, no bread or anything.
Yeah.
And
It's great.
It's great, actually. It's a power up, I'd say.
People dismiss this whole carnivore diet thing because in our heads, there's a
Yeah.
lot of propagandists that put this thing out there that animal agriculture is the number one contributor to global warming.
Yeah, it's rubbish. It's
bullshit.
not true. Bullshit.
It's hot
It
bullshit.
doesn't matter.
Not only is it hot bullshit,
Irrelevant.
but the real problem is factory farming. Regenerative farming
Factory farm,
is
definitely.
carbon neutral if it doesn't sequester carbon.
The animals are not going to make any difference to global warming. Like none.
No,
Zero.
it's
Zero.
horseshit.
Zero, 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 nothing.
Do you think that that's just propaganda because of people that have a vested interest in like plant-based meat products and things along those lines, green energy?
I think it's part of it. You're generally going to get people pushing to avoid meat. Like some people just, maybe they've got a financial interest. Maybe they're just like vegetarians or vegans or whatever.
Ideological interest.
Ideological reasons. But it's not going to make any difference to global warming or the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere. Really, if people eat fewer steaks, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I want to just be super clear about that.
Yeah.
Will not matter. You will not even be able to measure it. Okay, that's how irrelevant it is.
Isn't it funny that that's
unmeasurable?
That's
irrelevant.
a heretic speaking. Like that's crazy talk now. Nowadays, it's like you have to say that we have to eat less meat.
No,
that meat is bad.
Totally eat as much meat as you want. It's not going to make a difference.
Sing it. Tell
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what's really interesting is the way I didn't see this clip. So he got to this because he's a big carnivore. So he was listening to Jordan Peterson. He had a lot of health concerns. Jordan Peterson came on and told him about the
carnivore diet.
Yeah, the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
He changed his diet, and so now maybe that's affecting why he doesn't believe in climate change anymore because he wants to eat cows.
Well, and at the same time, the same people that are extremists on this issue are the same people that tried to derail his whole life because he took ivermectin. So it's the same group of people. So I think it's everything
sick of that.
that also helped his evolution to understand, okay, I'm believing the wrong set of people. These people are on the left are crazy.
Yeah. So hit the next tab, Alfred, but don't play it. But so the thing is that this is just specifically about, they're talking about specifically animals contributing to global warming. There's other conversations he's had where he's pretty much now convinced that the whole thing's a hoax, right? But we just saw the video with him, right? Remember, he was the previous clip. It's
like
we're just people that because we don't see it and it's not picked on our life and it's inconvenience. No, forget about that. Maybe the science is wrong, Joe Rogan, right? Maybe we're smart enough and to understand that the whole thing is a hoax, right? That never crossed his mind 5 years ago, right? And now you have him having this conversation with Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is telling them like it has no impact whatsoever. It's not even measurable, right?
Right.
This next clip, this is my beef right now with Joe Rogan. I need him to come and apologize to Candace Owen, okay? Because when Candace Owens, when he had her on his show, he treated her like the biggest idiot, okay, for not believing in man-made global warming.
Well, maybe that's just the spanking she deserved ahead of time.
We'll get into that, but let's hit
Maybe it was just prophetic.
This was Joe Rogan with Candace Owens, and in this portion of the interview, he's the one that brought up global warming. She didn't even want to talk about it. And if you guys go back, she even said, this is not an issue, which is what she should have said on the Israel thing. This is not an issue that I'm going to
But I know enough.
Right. This is not her thing, right? But he insisted and kept pushing the issue. Hit play, Alfred.
losing. America has been losing. And Donald Trump understood that in a way that I didn't. And
You
I
don't
thought,
think we have to care about the environment? Like, what do you,
no, not even a little bit. Like,
not even a little bit?
no. Okay, let me clarify this. I don't throw trash on the ground. Like, I'm
Okay.
not saying like we need to like, trash the environment. Like, but do I believe in climate change? No.
You don't believe in climate change?
Well, I think the climate always changes, I guess is what I should say. Do I believe that this is like, an issue that is being that is global warming, which they've changed conveniently. They got rid of the word once scientists started disproving it. Now they only say climate change. No, I think that was just a way to extract dollars from Americans. I don't at all believe they had no actionable plan. It was great for Trump to get out of that deal. It was terrible.
Okay, but this is an incredibly complicated subject.
Right.
Is it?
And if you would have to talk
Is
to
it really?
a bunch of different scientists and see how they gather data and see what they understand about CO2 levels and what's the danger of them and what can combat it and what could not. Have you done all this, or
No,
do you
so I
take
think-
this flippant opinion
No,
based
listen,
on the party line?
This wouldn't be the hill I died on, right? But it's not about the party. I just genuinely, I've read a ton about it, but
What
I
have
would
you
not be
read?
able to, come to you and say like, this is my strong opinion, but here's like the easiest way to say this, right?
Okay.
The fact that there is a disparity in the science about whether or not it's real is enough
You-
to,
Very little,
Yep.
very little disparity.
But-
Most scientists, the vast majority agree that human beings are negatively affecting climate change.
yeah.
The vast majority.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so-
I just don't think so.
So you think that the very few scientists that disagree with the
Yeah.
consensus are the ones that are correct?
Well, I think if something is, it's either subjective or
his
it's
face. Look
objective,
at- look
and
at
there
how
are objective truths, right?
arrogant
But
he
it's
is.
subjective if you're saying that there are some, and I don't think there's very little. There are some that don't get paid to go on TV. There's some that are not Bill Nye, who are not funded scientists, and that has been a whole.
Well, Bill Nye's not a scientist.
I know.
He's not. He's
It broke my heart when I
a
found out.
science
Mouthpiece.
propagandist.
But that's the point.
He's
And,
a
and
science. No, that's not a good word.
I don't think Al Gore is a scientist.
But
He's
you
not.
get the point here.
But Bill Nye is like a science.
But do you see how
Yeah.
like arrogant he is? Like he at like hook, line, and sinker was all about global warming. And look at the contrast between that conversation with her and Elon Musk.
When you're a liberal, you're condescending.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think he was a
So
liberal.
do you mean to
Well, he
tell
was still in
me-
California,
Yeah.
right?
And that's how they are. That's
before he
their
started
attitude.
eating a lot of steak?
Like, you're stupid if you don't believe that this vaccine will save your life.
You
Wait a
said the
minute.
word again.
What?
The B
Oh,
word.
sorry.
But you know, guys,
Ivermectin is a horse gel or whatever.
The dewormer.
the
Horse dewormer, yes.
the good thing too is that it shows us how far we've come from this was probably
We've come or just Joe Rogan's come?
this is why I wanted to play these, because Joe Rogan is I would say a very good what would you call it, a litmus
pill?
test or a
Bellwether
indicator of
Right.
where like the middle is. Well, I wouldn't say middle, okay, because I have a whole problem with the whole middle. I'll get into that too, right, Alfred? Like what people that call themselves independents, I just think they're
Centrists.
lazy.
Yeah.
If you call yourself an
Pick a
independent,
side.
you're lazy. You are intellectually lazy.
Oh, I wish that you were hot or cold, because you're lukewarm and I want to spit you out of my mouth.
Right.
That's what the Lord said.
That sounds like that was in the Bible.
It was. Book
Yeah.
of Revelation.
Yeah, like who are these people that are like independent? Like, and they say it with pride,
Mm.
right? Like oh, I'm not one of you right wingers or left winger people. I'm independent. To me, all that is like dog whistle for like I'm too lazy to actually look into things, and so I'm independent. I'll just go with whatever sounds cool at the time,
Yeah, whatever
That's
doesn't
my
affect
truth.
me.
right?
That's my
That's
truth.
your truth, right? Whatever. Those are the people that read like the headlines, because every time you have anybody that says they're like independent,
Mm.
like the next things out of their mouth is all left-wing talking points.
I think you've caused me to have a new thing. I agree with you.
Which is what?
That they're lazy.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
lazy people.
Yes.
Hedieh knows I hate lazy.
Yes.
See, Andy, we're very like-minded. You're very easy to manipulate. I love that. I'm just kidding. No, not manipulate, but
Either be an extremist left or extremist right, but you can't be sitting there in the middle.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, either you know what, you're a lefty and you're okay with killing babies,
Mhm.
and as long as you understand you're killing babies, I don't agree, and I think you're a horrible person,
Mhm.
but you're being intellectually honest.
Right.
You looked into these things. You can take an issue and you can explain it to me in such a way where it makes sense, right? If you think, hey, I'm for like healthcare, government run healthcare, and I'm okay with people being taxed, and I'm okay with being taxed, you're being intellectually honest. You've actually made a decision. You've decided that the trade-off of you and everyone else paying higher taxes and handing over that power to the government, and you're okay with them probably turning tyrannical, and you've weighed the risk and you've come to this conclusion. I can respect that.
It's actually a biblical concept too. The Lord is either for me or against me. That's actually from the Bible. That's actually from the Lord.
Yeah.
So we should stand for something.
Yeah.
I think it was Bill Maher said it one day, and I was like, oh, I got to respect him for that. Is that he said, abortion is killing babies. It is murder.
Right.
We just have to say it.
Yeah.
Go, oh, well, at least he's saying it.
Yeah, these people that are like, supposedly centrist or, independent. Again, you just have not done your homework, and you have not taken the time to look into the issues and understand what it is you stand for. You stand for nothing. You're easily swayed. You're easily persuaded to change your mind every election season. Right?
That's classic. Yeah.
I mean,
intellectually lazy.
Alfred, did anybody comment on what their top priority is? I don't see anything over here.
I saw 10 Commandments on somebody.
We're getting bombarded on Instagram, but I haven't been able to catch up with all the comments, man. There's just so many that people are joining in, coming in, smiley faces, laughing at you guys.
What do you got over there? What do you got over there on the?
Repent. I mean, bro,
You guys are too deep in the weeds now.
There's too much. There's so much. It's like, dude, look, we haven't even.
Wait, who's that over there? Let's see.
Our company.
Our economy. See.
It says our economy. I can't read it from here.
Our place in the world. Economy, our power in the world, our sovereignty, our place in the world, which is the same thing.
See, he's got the
even
same priorities
health and
as
power.
me.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's what
we are the world.
Hopefully, you listen to my argument.
That's right. There's just so many. Look at this. We haven't even gone through.
Let me see. And they probably work for the state. I don't know what they're commenting on. Let's see.
So many. I think we haven't even caught up. Look. Okay. I haven't even
The dollar, Miss Badger. The dollar is a priority. Well, yes,
Mr.
it is
Badger.
important.
Mr. Badger.
She wants it to
Badger.
continue to be the global.
Mr.
Oh, Mister. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
He's
I
got
can't see
big
the
arms
picture.
flexing.
I can see the biceps from here.
And then people are joining in.
Yeah. What you got on the other one over there, Alfred?
This one we just have Trump. This Trump 2024 Vance. We have Trump 24 Vance. That's it. Just Trump.
Oh, so I wanted to talk about JD Vance because guys, man. So if you guys go back to when JD Vance was announced and we played the clip of him, and thankfully, I did make sure that I said when he was attacking Trump, he was a young man, right? So I could totally respect that at the time he was bamboozled. We've all been there.
Are we leaving the Candence issue, by the way? Are we?
Do you want to keep? No, we're not. I'm sorry. Hold on. So we were talking about Candace, before the podcast, and I promised
because I don't think we
would
can
come up.
throw that out there and leave it.
Yes. Okay. So the issue with Candace currently right now is her position on Israel. So I'll go ahead and let you talk your piece here, and I might or might not defend her. Let's see what happens.
Well, so what bothers me most about what she says about Israel is that she's biblically illiterate. So what she's saying about Zionists, she's attributing to Israel when Israel is God's land. God established the borders of Israel. God defends Israel, as he has said in his word throughout the Old Testament and in the New. The book of Revelation is about reconciliation of the Jewish people in Israel. The Lord lands in Jerusalem. So this is God's story with the Jewish people. That has not changed. Just because we came in, the church was born, the church is born and the church leaves. But the story with the Jewish people and the Israelites continues until the New Jerusalem comes to the earth. She's attributing what she doesn't like about Zionism to Israel and to God's state of Israel. And I think that's just being biblically illiterate. And she's out of her element and she's out of her depth.
Yeah.
And she's made some horrifically anti-Semitic comments. And I'm so glad.
I will disagree on the anti-Semitic, though.
Oh, did you hear Dennis's response to her? Because he spanked her. I mean, he just.
I disagree with Dennis Prager categorizing that as anti-Semitic. I agree with almost everything you said, so settle down.
Wait a minute. No, but the comments she said about blood libel, like if you listen and ask Andy, because I went back and I did not take secondhand accounts. I listened to hours and hours of her podcast to hear in her own words her say that that Jews were killing Christian babies on purpose and using their blood. That story of the blood libel using blood in cookies and feeding it to the kids is like the most anti-Semitic tripe that has been out for decades, hundreds of years.
Let's define anti-Semitic.
Yes, attributing qualities first that are either wrong or generalizing about an entire people in a very negative way.
But
so she's making sweeping generalization. The Jews.
Okay, so this is, I guess, the problem is when people like Candence and what's his name, Kanye, right? The problem, the mistake they make is using that the Jews, which then makes it, immediately you can put that anti-Semitic label on them,
right?
But I just think that's just an error. I don't think I don't. I mean, do you really think that Candace Owens is anti-Semitic?
Absolutely.
So you think she's
100%.
joining? See, I don't agree.
Anti-Semitic would be you actually hate the Jews, as opposed to racist towards Jews, where you say things about them saving money.
Because so even though
you're distinguishing between anti-Semitism and racism?
Yes.
Why? Anti-Semitism is a form of racism.
Well, okay. So let me get back to what the example you gave of her talking about, was it a blood
libel?
Blood libel, right? So if she believes that was something they actually were doing, right? And let's just say she framed it without using the Jews. I mean, in other words, how else can you say it though? Like, it's like this. It's like saying, let me put it to you like this way. Let me put it in a different way. Like if you were to say that, I don't know, those Latinos, they're always out tagging on, they're always out tagging.
The Mexicans are responsible for all the graffiti. How would you feel about that? If you're
true.
That's what I'm saying about racism.
Yeah,
that's racist. Yeah, but it's there's some truth in it.
But there's truth that all graffiti is the responsibility is as the result of
in Anaheim mostly.
Like if you say that Mexicans, Mexicans, the Mexicans grow our food, right? Like, is that racist, or is that just a fact? Like, the people, in other words, I can't label somebody a racist just because they're using generalizing generalizing terms, right? That doesn't mean their intention is to say.
But it's not just generalizing, it's attributing criminal, nefarious behavior to that.
But there's a difference.
The blood libel she used was to prove her point that the state of Israel hides pedophiles that rape American kids, Christian kids.
Okay, but I guess what I'm saying.
So that was like the whole train of thought.
Okay, like for example, Trump goes around saying that other countries are sending their criminals and emptying out their prisons, right? So if Trump were to go out and say, Mexicans are releasing their people from prisons and sending, rapists and criminals, is that racist?
That Mexico, the country
Mexicans.
was.
If he said Mexicans are releasing people from their prisons and letting them flood our country, letting their rapists, they're not sending their best. They're not. That's not what he's saying. But if he framed it that way, if he said Mexicans, how is that racist? Or because they are Mexicans and they are doing this.
No, but
that's just a statement of fact. Now, I understand that.
You would say the Mexican government is releasing their worst.
I guess to me, it's like nitpicking. See, so what the point I'm trying to make is the fact that she used the Jews and then proceeded to say something that, is probably not correct. It's probably not true, that they're making a false accusation. Just because that doesn't mean it's anti-Semitic. You can say to her, you know what, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're giving bad information. The problem that I have is when you turn that into her being anti-Semitic.
What is your definition of anti-Semitic? So why is the label false? Why can she say all these nasty things, but she doesn't?
Because I don't
the label?
believe that her intention is to say that all Jews do this, and that just the fact that they're Jews is genetic. inherently the fact that you're a Jew, you go out and you're blood libel people. Like that.
So you don't think by pointing this out repeatedly in a variety, and I just gave you one of them, that she's not attributing certain qualities to a particular race?
No, because she's referring to she's referring to a group of people, and like the examples I gave you is if you were to say the Mexicans are releasing people from their prisons, to me it's hard for me to say what that person is in their heart, right? But if like say Trump said it. I know Trump's not racist. He says stupid stuff like this all the time. Yeah, and he uses terms, but I know he's talking about the government of Mexico. He's talking about the people in power. Technically, is he right? Yes, because they're Mexicans and they're the ones releasing. So in her case, by her saying the Jews, X, Y, and Z, she's just identifying a group of people that are associated. Like, I don't know. Like if I say the blacks are like the best athletes in the world.
It's racist.
I don't think that's a fact. It's true. That's not racist.
See, the thing is that you guys think that racist comments are okay. Racist generalizations are okay. That's a matter of opinion, but I don't think they are.
We have to consider intention.
I think her intention, Candence, is one of anti-Semitism.
Right.
You think so?
She hates them.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that she hates them.
I do.
I don't think she does, but look, listen, this is the problem that I think she has where I do agree with her. So I'm not like totally defending her. Where I agree with her and I agree with others that criticize Israel is just simply in this is I understand the biblical point of view. With that said, my problem is when we blindly support them. For example, they go to war. And the next day, we're trying to send them billions of dollars to help them with this war.
Oh, hello. We do that with every country.
I understand that, but I'm saying I'm going to treat them like I do anybody.
But we just send billions to Ukraine, Zelensky, and we know.
But I don't agree with that either, though. That's what I understand. I don't agree with that either. What I'm saying is,
but that's what we do for our allies. I mean, then you want to change foreign policy, but that's a separate issue.
Yes, and I have a problem. I have a problem with the fact that when it comes to Israel, we do treat them very differently, and for some of the reasons that you're mentioning, but I think we go overboard with this, okay? Because we have to stop that. Israel can take care of themselves, okay? If they come with this is what I was talking in the last podcast, is first of all, Israel, everybody knows they're constantly it's a matter of time before they go to war, right? So I would think that Israel has a very good defense budget. They save for a rainy day. If I was Israel, I'd be like, you know what? We're probably going to have a war anytime now. So I'm going to make sure that I can afford to go be at war for, 6 months, a year, right? Let's just say 6 months. I have a budget for a 6-month war, okay? But you're coming to ask me for money like the day after? Call me like in 5 months.
Well, the biggest problem is Biden gave Iran $1 billion. If he wouldn't have done that, then we wouldn't have to give any money to Israel.
That's a huge point. If we didn't need to,
are you telling me that the day after we already need to be approving money to send them? They go to war, and like within that first week, we're already panicking. Like we need to send. It's like if you're my friend, right? And if you're my friend and you need some money, and you're coming at me like, bro, you just lost your job today.
I would like to say,
and you're already asking me for $1,000.
I would like to say that it's way beyond friendship. Is if we're going to say that as Christians we vote our biblical values, then we should have a stance on biblical values all the way forward. So if we are waiting for the Lord to return to this piece of land that they're fighting over, it's literally the size of New Jersey, and the entire world fights over it. So if we're going to say that this land is sacred to us, then we defend it, and they have a favored nation status.
I understand.
Same as killing babies in the womb is murder.
Look,
we have a whole policy based on our biblical values. Either we do or we don't.
I don't disagree with you. All I'm saying though is that just because I am not the day after or that same month running to send them billions and billions of dollars, and I understand what you're saying with Ukraine, with all of them, with everybody. I'm not. What I'm saying is we need to treat everybody equal. Okay.
No, but they're not.
But I'm going to preface it with yes, I understand that Israel has a special
placed in our hearts.
a special role in the world.
Right.
But there's no way that you can tell me that they were already running out of money. In other words, I'm not saying we don't support them. I'm saying that I feel like we get taken advantage of even by Israel. I mean, do you not think that they even take advantage or abuse the fact that we have this relationship with them? I don't want to be naive over it. That's what I want to say. Is like, I don't want to just blindly be sending them money. Again, we can support Israel by saying, have at it, guys. We're not going to get in your way, right? You guys bomb whoever the heck you want to bomb. I got your back, okay? I'm gonna push back against the narratives that you're out there killing babies. Okay, we're gonna make sure that you guys are free to do what you're gonna do.
And sending you the money and weapons that you need to fight the war.
When you need them, show me your bank account first.
Well, we got to go back to they just gave billions of dollars to Iran, and they can't do that and not do anything for Israel.
We shouldn't. I'm saying is the point that Candace Owens is saying, though. I think her biggest point, but the problem with her is that she started adding all this other crazy stuff. But where I do agree with her, and I think a lot of this started with the fact that yes, it's like we're just constantly being taken advantage of.
True.
Like we're constantly sending money, and it's not just Israel; it's everybody. And I think in her, what she's trying to say is not just Israel, but them too, guys. Like,
so is she going to say that about Uganda? Is she going to say that about Rwanda? Is she going to say that about the Congo?
Say what though? They're not at war.
Well, no, but we send them millions of dollars, millions, if not billions, every year.
I have not watched her show for a very long time.
I guarantee you, she doesn't say that about the Congo.
You, me myself, nobody gets money. Okay. But Israel, you need money. I want to see your bank account. I want to see you need the money, and I will help you. I would do the same with my sister.
And that's why we like Trump, though, because the UN, he took the task with the countries that weren't paying in the UN.
What? So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I just want to. The problem that I have when it comes to Israel is when we we justify just blindly supporting them and not at least questioning, like, do you guys really need the money? Do we need to send troops there? Like, I want to avoid sending troops there unless they really need me to. Like, call us when you guys.
We have avoided sending troops there.
No, I'm not saying we haven't, but I'm just saying is if our government starts talking about sending troops, because this is what happens when it comes to Israel. Okay, we're gonna send thousands of troops over there, and we have to because they're Israel and they're sacred land, and the Bible says that we're supposed to support them. And here we are just sending people, and nobody's allowed to stop and say, do we really need to send people? Like, do they not have enough people? Are they like down to their last 5 guys or something? Like, what's going on? I'm not saying we don't help, but what I'm saying is we should at least be allowed to stop and ask the questions and make sure that we're.
I believe we do.
Why do you
think we don't?
Because
what makes you think we don't?
Because
that's what the whole discussion on the floor of Congress is all about. That's what passing bills and regulations are, is that they're arguing back and forth.
To me,
you don't think that crazy squad out there is fighting the appropriations to Israel?
Okay, I'm going to ask you, you don't think that the industrial military complex just wants to use the Israel war for us to just send billions of dollars to Israel?
That's for Boeing and Patreon and all the other companies to make money. Point.
So to me, it's like when you go to war and then all of a sudden we're already talking. Why are we already talking about sending them aid? Like, it just started.
War is the moneymaker. They were pissed that President Trump stopped all the wars. Right? And so this is, you're right, it is a money-making thing, but we can't let Israel die.
And I'm not saying that we should. I'm just saying that when the reason why you have Candace Owens and coming out is because, again, we go to war and then we're already talking about sending them money. And yes, I know we sent Ukraine, but the same thing goes for them. And that is so.
Yeah, but so why isn't she screaming about Ukraine every day?
I don't know. I don't want the show. I mean, if she's not, then she should be. But I'm just saying. I guess this is why. This is why I think in their mind, why she's more on the Israel thing. It's because of what I said. When it comes to Israel, we seem to kind of just blindly do what we're going to do. We don't question it. And if anybody does question it, you're anti-Semitic. It's true. You have to admit that. If anybody says anything bad about Israel or a Jew, all of a sudden you're anti-Semitic. It's true. It's the same thing that happened with Kanye, right? I don't really believe Kanye is actually anti-Semitic. I think that he actually, like you said, has been screwed by people that are Jewish in the industry, and he's just using he's using general terms, and people are taking that and using that against him It's the same It's the same problem Trump has. Trump puts his foot in his mouth all the time.
Yeah.
You know, he does it to himself. Kanye West is the same way, and Candace Owens is having the same problem.
Oh, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. You can't do show after show after show on this topic and say, "Oops, I'm putting my foot in my mouth." She doubled down.
I
she
think
doubles
the reason
down every time.
And she's smart enough too. We know that she has some intelligence because we've listened to her for years.
I think
she knows better.
So this is the thing with Candace Owens, though. She's a rebel.
Dumb.
She's a rebel, okay, and she doesn't like being told what to do. That's her whole thing. That's her personality. And where I understand her is that all of a sudden you question something with Israel and you get labeled anti-Semitic, and she's going to double down on it. It's the same thing she does with the left, right? Whenever they disagree with her and they put label, she doesn't back down. She doubles down. She's not reacting any different. The problem with her now is that now you're talking on an issue where your own audience is disagreeing with you, but she's being consistent with her character.
And therefore she gets a pass because she's acting like an idiot and being stubborn. She's out of her lane. She's biblically illiterate.
Yes, I agree with you.
And she's making racist comments that are just unacceptable.
She should have done what she did with the climate change and said, "Okay, I don't know enough."
She
about
should have
it.
walked away from
and
it.
should have stopped. She was smart enough then to do that.
Yes,
that's where hatred gets in the way.
Oh, so you think she hates him?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you guys could be right. I honestly stopped. I actually stopped. See, this is where I'm at with a lot of people that I used to watch. Like I used to watch a lot of Candace Owens. I used to watch, like Fox News, like other people. I'm trying to think of everyone else, like Don Bongino. But after, I think I mentioned to you guys the last time, is anybody who refused to talk about election fraud. Sebastian Gorka was the other guy. That, you know what? Okay, I'm glad I remembered. Okay. I'm glad I remembered because I thought about this after the podcast. Okay, when we talked last time. So I'm gonna finish my point and then I'm gonna remind you of what your response was. Okay. So all of these people that refuse to talk about the machines and treated anybody like idiots, like you guys are just a bunch of idiots, right? I just suspicious of them. Okay, I felt like they're being disrespectful and not taking anybody. I don't know. I'm just suspicious of them because there was just been too much. So one of the things you said was that when you know how the bread is made, right, and you hear somebody say there's sugar in the bread, I think is an example you gave, but you know there's no sugar in the bread, then you stop taking them serious. I think that's kind of what you alluded to, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. The problem with that analogy is that when there was the case in Michigan, was either Michigan or Wisconsin. I'm sure Andy's going to remember. I think it was Michigan or Wisconsin, where one of the lawsuits they were able to get discovery, and so they allowed them access to the Dominion machines, and that's when they proved, right, that they were connected to the internet, and that it actually was flipping votes. This is a fact. So going off your analogy, remember there wasn't supposed to be sugar in the bread. In other words, they said they didn't connect to the internet and that they weren't capable of flipping votes. But in discovery, they actually got access. They got access to the machine, showed and proved that it did connect to the internet and that it actually flipped votes. So they found the sugar in the bread, which wasn't supposed to be in the recipe.
Well, first of all, I don't know the case you're referring to, and I haven't seen the facts. So it is.
You don't remember that, Andy?
Yes.
Oh,
but the issue was standing. I think that it's always was standing.
Yes.
It's not that they could not cheat with the machines because we found out that they could.
They could.
The expert that they had there was able to show them in real time.
In real time. And we'll see if we have to find the video is probably gone. We don't look for it now, but you could probably try to find it. We'd have to search it somehow. In the chat, you guys might remember if you haven't put the link up.
Yeah, by the way, the chat is on fire, bro. They said that's God's people, man. Whatever you say, they're standing with Israel. They're on fire, bro.
All right.
They're just saying, regardless, two wrongs don't make a right. So the people are out there just showing their support to Israel. And of course, you got multiple people saying about Israel, coming over, bombing on Lebanon, I believe. And I think, they're just asking questions. So all that stuff, I mean, at the end of the day, I think for the most part, the chat is on fire. They're just saying they're standing. That's God's people. That is God's people.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put it to you this way. When the terror. Okay. So
Wait, are we on the elections or are we on?
no, okay, no, I want to respond. No, okay, I'm sorry. All right, so let's finish the debate.
I can only follow one train of thought.
So again, we found sugar in the bread. Okay.
No,
And-
but no. Okay, so in order, the sugar in the bread, if you know how the bread is made, let's go back to that analogy. If you're saying if Seb took a position based on the facts known at that time, then you can't hold against him the decision he made without new facts being presented. So in other words, the facts at that moment were, no, that's not what's happening.
He refused to talk about the machines, and to him and the machines, you're a fool. He ignored it. And I bet you if you go back, you will not find an episode. Because if you say to me, oh, well, maybe he didn't know about it, bro, you have a news show. How do I know about it and you don't know about it?
No. The time that he said that he didn't believe they were
what
connected,
I'm saying is, has he? Okay. I bet you if I were to go to look through his archives, I am not going to find an episode of him talking about the fact that they got Discovery and were able to get a hold of these machines, and that now he's, in light of this new evidence, he's like, I'm pretty confident that never happened, because that would have gone pretty viral, I would think, at the time. Because by that time, nobody, Fox wasn't talking about it no more. Nobody was talking
Candence
about it.
doesn't apologize. Joe Rogan doesn't apologize. Elon Musk does not apologize. Nobody goes back and says, mea culpa.
The only point I was making is that all of these people like that, and she was one of them. That's why I stopped watching them. Okay, because they, at this point, I don't trust you anymore. It's hard for me because I can't. It's unexplainable to me, because I can say the same thing for Candace Owens. Candace Owens wasn't on her podcast talking about, hey guys, guess what? They got a hold of one of those machines, and they actually proved that they flip them. She didn't do that either. Neither
I
did
didn't hear this. Did
Bongino.
you hear this?
Yep.
They flipped votes in the.
Yes,
I don't even know the accuracy of that.
The expert was able to show the judge at the time that this is what
that
this
it's
is what,
possible, or that it happened.
They tested the machine, they got a hold of it, and they showed it in live. They have it recorded on video of it flipping votes. And they
So
showed
that it's capable, but they don't have.
I think they were
proof
able to
that
go
it
back
happened.
they were able to go back in the history.
No, I don't know. Okay, so I don't remember if they were able to go back and prove that it did it before.
Okay,
but they were for sure able to show that it was capable of doing so. But again, there wasn't supposed to be sugar in the bread recipe.
Meaning the connection to the internet.
Yeah, not just the connection to the internet, which is bad enough, but they actually can flip votes. So not only does it connect,
but did Seb say, are you holding against him that he said it's impossible to connect to the internet?
No. What I'm not just him. Anybody who
didn't
delve into it, who ignored the stories, and basically didn't even want to talk about it. You have a platform, a pretty big platform, and that's, I think, a pretty big deal. The fact that they actually got a hold of one of these machines. I mean, if Candace, if Don Bongino, if Fox News, if name the list of conservative.
Tucker got fired over the election fraud issue, so I think Fox was doing it.
Sued.
Well, back then, Tucker, I think it was still Bill O'Reilly back in those times.
Well,
Tucker didn't have the show
Just
yet.
think about it. Giuliani also got sued, and look what happened. All his
look at his whole life
Giuliani,
is gone.
His whole life is gone because.
And I get it, but I guess maybe they were too afraid. But to me again, whatever your motive is, at this point, I can't trust you. I cannot. You're no longer a reliable source of news for me.
You're talking about Candace Owens, right?
Candace,
Don
silence,
Don
silence is
Bongino.
consent.
Okay.
Silence is complicit. Is being complicit.
No, I'm not saying they're being complicit. I'm saying that if you, as an audience, as a viewer, then you lost me.
Because you refuse to talk about it.
Yes, because now I don't trust you. You're suspect. You're you're too chicken, or you don't believe it for whatever. But again, to
the credit though, how do you actually have a conversation like that when you have these huge organizations coming after you and just for speaking of it.
Listen, I get it.
Look,
I'm just making the point that as a viewer,
look at what happened.
Look
Fox
at Alex Jones.
Fox 700 and what 38 millions. I mean, think about it, because what's her name? Barton Romo mentioned something about the machines and election.
Yeah, it's big. It's a big game.
But going back to Israel, we'll leave that there. So going back to the
Jews.
Yeah, back to the Jews. again, guys, look, I'm prefacing with this. I am a Christian. I understand. I get it. But I'm hoping you guys understand where I'm coming
And then
from.
abortion is murder. Full stop.
Yes, abortion is murder. Yes.
Israel's God's people. Full stop. If you're a Christian, you can't start with you
Yes,
can't.
I
You
can.
can't.
It's not the
you
same.
can't start. It is exactly the same.
No,
you
it's
cannot
not.
start with I'm a Christian, but Israel, blah blah blah. Full stop.
Okay. Let me just say what I'm gonna say, and then we should go from there. So look, so it's hard for me to believe. For example, how did this thing start? Right? You had a group.
How did what start? Let's
no.
How far back are we
No,
going?
what led it to this current war? This current event right now, where we're at war right now.
The massacre of 1,300 Jews in a single day.
Correct.
In 3 hours. Yeah,
that did happen. Okay,
Yeah.
but my problem is that you have Israel, who has the greatest intelligence in the world. Okay, I think their intelligence is. Are they? You were the FBI.
Yeah.
Or they say they're better than our intelligence, maybe.
I mean,
or
it's
rivals.
Quite sophisticated, but also that expertise came from us.
Okay.
We helped build that expertise.
Okay, so they're very capable, and so you have. Maybe I'm just naive. I was never an FBI agent. I was never a counter-terrorist, so I'm going to be very careful about this. But you have. Would you agree? Would you agree though that these people who carried out this terrorist act? I mean, my understanding is they parachuted in, right? There had to have been training involved. You didn't just wake up in the morning and say, "Hey guys, let's go kill all these crazy people, jump on the plane." There had to have been training. And in other words, do you not think it's very difficult to believe that there's all this incompetence that they didn't know this was going to happen? I just don't. I have a hard time buying that we did.
Oh,
not,
are you one of those that believe that we did 9/11 too?
No. No, I'm not saying.
But what causes incompetence is complacency. Over a period of time where nothing's happening, you just begin to get relaxed, and that's how 9/11 happened. That's how President Trump gets shot. Is that nothing's happened for 30 years, so there's nobody left.
So you're one of those that thinks that some kid woke up and decided to go shoot Trump.
Complete incompetence.
It was all a series of.
When I started the police academy in 1984. We got yelled at. We had to stay from 9 o'clock, or not even that, 6 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. And then we'd have to do 10 reports and then show back up at 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. Now you don't have to do that anymore. They don't yell at you anymore. They don't scream. They don't put you in these scenarios that are going to make you scared. And they put these people on the street and they're incompetent. They're not trained to handle the situations. Secret Service
you're
over
not
years.
Convince me that first shooting with Trump was incompetent.
Complete incompetence. They got lazy. They just didn't do things like this. They didn't communicate.
People yelling, and the guy's right there. Andy.
Yes.
No.
How incompetent do you have to be?
Okay, you guys lost me, man.
There's no communication between the law enforcement. Law enforcement was doing their job. They're saying they reacted. The local law enforcement, Secret Service. These people weren't even trained to do the job.
Do you know in Vivaldi it was Vivaldi, right? Where all the kids got killed?
Yep.
Do you know that all happened because their radio communication didn't work? So you what I'm saying is that you don't realize that the stupidest things can happen in the middle of a tragedy.
But you had so many stupid things in the first shooting, for example.
What happened was because they didn't have the chain of command between local law enforcement and the Secret Service was they couldn't fire a shot until Secret Service approved. So apparently there was some miscommunication between the radios where the chain of command. There was no communication between the police radios and the Secret Service radios. So as they're screaming, "Can we take the shot?" They didn't get the message until they were in a position to have seen him themselves.
Okay,
which is just stupid.
So you have
same thing with Butler, Pennsylvania. There was no.
We're
huddle,
talking about Butler,
but exactly in Butler, no huddle between the services and the local officials.
Yeah,
there was no communication. Where what was the plan? We didn't know.
But that's complacency because nothing has happened in so long. Everybody just gets lazy. Yeah. They don't communicate. They go, we don't have to do that like we used to do it. They used to be very diligent in everything that they did. They're no longer diligent in any aspect.
I don't know. When you have, in this, I will give Don Bongino because he was former. And when you even have him, this is not just.
It's criminal complacency.
It's more than this. 100%. What does that even mean? Criminal complacency. What
they're so incompetent that they've not done their job seriously.
Is criminal.
You're negligent in that you've not trained properly. You've not hired the right people.
The reckless
people that they have
life.
That are called Secret Service were not even Secret Service. They were from some other department.
They were detailed over
from the mailroom.
Yeah.
DHS, I believe. There was just
DHS.
Let's grab a couple of those guys right there. It's like when you go play soccer, right? You go to play soccer, and the players actually the fans. You go to look at the fans. Hey, let's bring that guy in.
Yeah,
that's what they did.
I don't know, guys. I think my conspiracy mind says that if that's what you're going to go with, that's who they put there on purpose in order for this to happen.
Well,
because how does this kid, some kid just gets up and gets his gun and he walks around with the sight finder. Nobody does anything. He flies the drone. Nobody does anything. I mean, it's just like there's just way too much for me to believe. It just does not seem logical that this is just.
Or how about this one? The guy that just did the latest one. Let's take you guys to the latest one, right? The guy, the incompetence or the competence of our current agencies, pretty much launched this letter saying that, hey, we're gonna give you guys a what is it called, a reward, right? $150,000 for whoever does whatever. Is that competence or incompetence? I mean, showing up. I mean, 5 years ago, we had a person out in that we were everybody was here having a discussion about the person that had a testament, right? She was a transgender, right? She murdered some kids at a school.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she, there's a testament. People were screaming, hey, show us the letter, show us what she's talking about.
Her manifesto.
Oh, the manifesto is what you're
exactly,
talking about.
right? The manifesto. It took about a year and a half, right? For us to even get something. And, this latest guy, what happens? Within 2 to 3 days.
I mean, they wiped out all his social media. You guys are telling me
you
that
could have two things happening at the same time. You could have the CIA realizing that the Secret Service is compromised with incompetence.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be easier to pull it off.
Let's get this kid who was in the BlackRock commercials.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, let's get
And
this
let's
guy.
entice
Let's get Nancy's son, because we know him and we know that he's a little bit crazy.
So-
and they could develop this person to do that thing.
Exactly.
And he's able to
a
overcome
foot doesn't know what
weakness.
the arm's doing. So, so there could be a 3-letter agency that recruited this kid like a provocateur to do this action without telling the Secret Service or the FBI that they've recruited this kid to do this action. You know what I mean? And then this series of incompetent actors over here can't catch this guy.
And they
So
know
we
he's going to get shot and killed.
Listen, I can concede that there was some incompetence involved, but I cannot concede that there's no way that this was not planned by somebody.
But do you hear what I said?
Yes, yes.
So in that example, is
I
that
can agree
planned?
to that. Yes, if somebody coordinated him being there, knowing that you had a bunch of incompetent people there, they weren't going to be able to
But do you
stop
know
him.
that the incompetent people didn't know that this agent was recruiting this guy?
Yeah,
is what
I
I'm saying.
I
So it's
combine
not
to that.
coordinated. It's not coordinated with all of them involved.
Yes, I can agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
Where the incompetent group that's there to supposed to be, has no idea that something's been planned for this person to go in.
Right.
Yes, I can buy that.
Okay.
Okay, I 100%. But for somebody to tell me that it's only incompetence,
It's not
and that-
only.
Yes, that's where I'm like, no.
Because you can see it. I mean, even the untrained eye could see that the agents they couldn't put their guns back on their holster without looking down.
Yeah.
I mean, even people like, hey, I think you're supposed to be able to do that without looking down.
Yeah. But
I've
going
seen a lot of westerns.
So going back to the Israel thing, though, is that I get what you guys are saying. I just think there's just the timing of everything with them not, the Ukraine war. No, it's not popular. It's just not working out. It's like, hey, how about we start a different war? How about we just allow this act to happen so that we can, get off here.
So we can have the whole world hate us?
Well, I mean, look.
I think it's all working out
They
the way
hate
that
us.
they want it to work out.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about Ukraine. They just care about making money.
Right.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. They
that's
don't
what
care
I'm
about the
saying,
hundreds
though.
of thousands of people that are dying.
But you're thinking, but you agree that Israel would do this against themselves so that the whole world can hate them and that they be attacked from all sides?
Look, the whole world hates them anyways, number one. This allows them to go after their enemy.
But they could have gone over there and
that worked out for us because no, they have to have a reason. You can't just, you have to justify it, and you got to get the American people on your side so that they can send you billions of dollars because we're supposed to just blindly. But what I'm saying is that my only point here being is that just me questioning that, I'm anti-Semitic now.
It's just a cluster of cells.
That's not the same thing.
It's just a cluster of
When
cells.
it comes to abortion, it's black
when it starts
and white.
to get a heartbeat, when it starts to get a heartbeat, then it's a baby.
Because we're acting like Israel does not have it's not possible for Israel to have corrupt politicians or a corrupt government that can go out.
It's your naughty younger brother. It's your naughty younger brother.
Right. And knowing
he
that
could be a drug addict, he could be a criminal, whatever it is, he's still your brother.
Yeah, but you wouldn't leave your drug addict brother alone with your wallet laying on the bench.
You don't leave your wallet alone with him.
That's all I'm saying.
You just
I don't believe that Israel wanted to be attacked.
No.
But I think
No
they were
way.
attacked because of a weak American president.
Yeah.
And the terrorists realized that they could do this.
It's a great time.
And get away with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we had to
It was an opportunity that was capitalized in. And so that's why all I'm saying is that anybody that just questions and says, do we really need to be sending billions of dollars?
I don't think they could not have send money. They're sending millions of dollars to Ukraine.
Billions.
They're spending billions of dollars in Iran and everybody else.
In Uganda, in Congo, all over Africa.
Okay. My point being, though, is that people like myself and people say like Candence, aside from some of the other comments, but something like other people that have actually criticized the fact that why are we not just Israel but Ukraine? I'm going to be consistent and say I don't want to just be sending troops. I don't want to just be sending money. I want to question and find out what the heck is going on. And just because it's Israel doesn't mean that I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to say, show me your bank account. I want to know you actually need the money.
We don't do that for any other country. That's the problem.
No, we should do that for all countries.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, though.
No, but
you can't blame Israel that they're in this world now. They're in the world that's designed now or has been created now. And so
look, I'm just saying as Christians, as Christians, doesn't mean just because we question our bad brother or naughty little brother that's a drug addict and a crackhead, right? For me to stop and be like, hey, crackhead brother, you know what? Before I give you another $10, I'm going to make sure you're not going to just go buy another pack of heroin or whatever. You know what I mean? How about I'll just go buy you the food? That's all I'm saying.
I would say they could be the analogy of being a naughty little brother, but not a crackhead. I'm not calling Israel our crackhead brother.
Okay.
So is there sugar in bread or no?
There's sugar in bread. That's the problem.
And
we proved it.
We'll agree to disagree.
I don't know how we got onto Israel after sugar and bread.
Candence.
Well, Candence Owens. But I just want to make sure it's not the same as abortion because abortion is
the same.
It's black and white completely.
Just because it's clear in your mind doesn't mean that it's not the same.
You're limited by your human brain. You're not God.
All right,
God
guys.
says.
Yeah,
God says. Not my opinion, it's his.
I don't know. Palestine was given to the Judea.
I was just going over the
the name Palestine was given.
Palestine was given to the name of Judea before Judea. Of course, yeah, that's what it was. That's where it came. We did an episode at the video podcast. So okay, promotion, awesome.
Yeah,
great. No, like it, and subscribe. Everyone.
Yeah, I like that. No one wants the Palestinians, including their Muslim neighbors,
That's
which
true.
is absolutely true.
That's
They
true.
still live in refugee camps in Lebanon 50 years later.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But a lot of them are, a lot of people just don't understand the history. And again, this is something that I can ask, somebody that's been in the front lines, right? Initially, I think these are all people from Syria, right? Iraq, and Jordan.
In Palestine, you mean?
Correct.
Well, yeah, there are people that emigrated from different. The question is, what do you call these nations? Because the Balfour Declaration drew lines in the sand. So they aren't really distinct people in this area. I mean, like the Syrians aren't a different ethnic group. They're Arabs. Do you understand what I mean? Like they're a branch of Semitic people. We gave names to them. The West, the colonizers gave names to these regions, but they're made up.
Understood. Okay.
Can
right,
I ask
guys.
you just real quick a question about your time with with President Obama and the administration?
Mm-hmm.
Would this be a similar discussion?
What?
Like,
What?
no, you don't understand religion.
No.
You did want to understand.
No. We couldn't talk that way to him.
No, really? You can't have a spirited conversation.
No, there's
like
no
that?
spirited conversations.
Hmm.
And we can have it amongst ourselves, peer to peer, but not with people in an executive position.
General Flynn, you and General Flynn didn't have this kind of
No,
discussion?
because we were on the same side,
Oh.
though. We were of the same opinion.
Okay.
So I guess the last podcast you were talking about how, what did he say that he didn't understand? What was the quote?
He didn't get religion.
He didn't get religion.
He was a humanist.
So then-
Obama.
yeah. So we're going kind of long, but I want to finish this.
Sure.
Are we 2 hours into this?
No. We got an hour and 44.
Oh Lord, that's long.
Wow.
I could talk to you guys for like another hour, so you don't have to come back again. But what? So remember back when Obama, he was being accused of being a Muslim,
Right.
So that probably wouldn't be the case,
No.
right? Because you said he was a humanist,
He's a humanist.
right? So why do you think it seems like he helped them, like Hamas? Like it just seemed like
He helped the Middle East implode. He made the Middle East implode. He actually took pleasure in watching those countries self-destruct.
why though? Like what do you think his motivation was? Like for example, sending money to Iran. Like what?
I think he's a little bit of an American hater.
Okay,
You know,
well, a lot of American
Right.
hater, yes.
Yeah. But he also had this paralysis through analysis. He didn't want to do anything.
Mhm.
So he didn't want to be known for XYZ policy. And so he just let it implode. I mean, with terrorism, it was terrible.
Was he hoping that they would destroy each other? Seeing that
don't-
they were constantly battling each other?
I don't know if he cared. I don't know if he cared. It wasn't like it was an obvious policy of his, but an obvious policy was that he was willing to do nothing.
Wow.
So
other than kill people with drones.
like imposing the rules of engagement that he did on the military, which prolonged the war and caused a lot of death, with a lot of our military dying. Like, what do you?
Well, what are you referring to?
Well, like for
Can you
example, some of the rules and engagements they had, I believe, was something like if they had to be fired upon first before they could
Right.
fire, right?
Right.
Which
is part of his don't do anything.
okay, so that's what you're
Yes.
attributing that to.
Yeah, same with what happened. What was the embassy that was overrun in Libya?
Libya.
Yeah, because they just didn't want to do anything. He didn't want to do anything. Anything we asked him to do, he refused when it came to terrorism.
So this kind of ties into Kamala. When we see her right now, where she's just flip flopping on issues, I think she was asked. She was asked how she voted on Prop 36, and she refused to answer the question. So I guess we could probably expect
Very
similar
similar.
from Kamala, right?
What worries me though is that she's way stupider, and so stupider people have convictions that are usually.
Oh, so remember, she didn't believe we won.
You know
we
what I
won
mean?
that debate last time.
Well, that she may just do things because she's not so smart,
right?
And people like. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
So people, sorry about that, folks.
Yeah.
So people like that can make some very rash decisions that are just dumb.
Yeah.
But he's obviously not dumb. He just didn't want to make any decision.
Yeah, he didn't want to be held accountable.
He didn't want to be held accountable for anything.
Yeah.
He would occasionally blow somebody up, but that was just
13,000 people the last time that I checked that record were killed by drones with no extrajudicial killings.
Yeah.
No trials.
Yeah,
nothing.
no evidence.
No evidence. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm jogging my memory from back in the Obama days because it's been such a long time. But I remember one of the things that somebody had brought up is, because you're saying he was a humanist. And I think somebody was claiming that actually this was contradict that. But I'm trying to remember who it was talking about how he was saying that Obama believes in collective salvation.
Which means what?
Which means that his salvation was dependent on others, which is contrary to what Christianity believes.
Yeah, he's not a Christian. So that's kind of a humanist idea, right? That we are
is it? I don't know.
Essentially morally good and that humans rely on each other to advance.
Right. So the idea being that, as a Christian, right, we are accountable for ourselves.
Right.
Right. In other words, my salvation isn't relying on your salvation.
Right.
Right. But apparently, I guess maybe that's a humanist theology. I
believe so.
Is that he believed that his salvation was dependent, is collective.
Which makes
it's right.
Which fits in perfectly with why he didn't want to be responsible for something wrong. So if he morally thinks that his future eternity is connected to what he does to other people, then that would make total sense. Why
the other way to look at that is also this is how you would get socialism, because if you believe that you need to force others to be charitable, right?
Yes.
Then that would be your motivation.
And I don't think Kamala's that sophisticated.
No.
No, well, you did last time you were here.
Did I? No. I just said in general, I don't like calling our enemies stupid.
No,
In general, I don't like to just chalk them all up as stupid because then we don't.
I'm picking on you, but yes,
Then we just don't fight effectively.
But just in the last couple of weeks, she's proven to be more stupid.
More stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, unbelievable.
So we changed our mindset, huh?
Yeah, she's just real. I mean, talk about a puppet. She's actually a puppet.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just mean our opponents. I don't think we should call the left stupid because I think a lot of them are very evil, very conniving, very smart. She is just a puppet of theirs that just got lucky.
Not an effective puppet, but RHFR2. It's funny because I was just going to bring this up. Notice almost all the celebrities she has.
I saw a meme of this. Connected to Diddy.
Yes.
Like I literally saw a meme of all their faces with pictures with Diddy.
Oh yeah,
it's wild.
And what's crazy is you had every single like Usher, Beyonce,
J-Lo,
all of these people not just connected, but they publicly came out and said I don't know if actually J-Lo might have not, but they publicly came out and adamantly said they weren't going to endorse anybody. You had Nicki Minaj. I don't know if you guys saw that whole debacle with her. That was freaking ridiculous, right? How embarrassing for that knucklehead.
What'd she do? I thought she was endorsing
There's
Trump.
no teleprompter, and she said, "I'm nervous. I don't know what to say."
She had to buy time because she didn't have her notes.
She never
notes. Broke, so she had to get her sister to bring her the phone so she could read what she's supposed to say.
And that was a Kamala endorsement for Nicki?
Yes,
I thought she was a Trump fan.
It's just remember she had put out that video where she's criticizing politicians. I mean, she didn't say she was a Trump fan, but she was being very critical of the current administration.
But I can see where you're going, though.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying,
I think they're getting phone calls.
Yep.
You need to get out there right now.
Or we're going to pull the Diddy card on you.
We're going to pull a Diddy card.
Yeah.
Whether money.
We got videos and pictures.
We got all kinds of stuff in that vault.
It's I don't know, guys. It's either that or money. Either way, it's not real.
No, they've got so much. I mean, they've got money. I mean, you think Beyonce is motivated by money at this point? No,
true, good point.
Yeah, it's got to be videos.
Yeah, it's got to be reputation.
Yeah, and
legacy.
It's just amazing.
All they do is have to send a bottle of baby oil to her house. Just be like, you are cordially invited to Kamala's rally in Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh. Her what is it? Her election or victory campaign, right?
Yeah.
Will be at the P. Diddy mansion. Jeez. But yeah, it's crazy how they've called out, I mean, they were busy getting these people to come over, right, and do these endorsements. And it's just crazy. Like how does I go back to what I was talking about before? People who say they're independents, people who are like the lazy, centrist, intellectually lazy people, right? Those are the ones that get influenced by Cardi B, right? Those are the ones that are like, oh, look, J-Lo, I'm going to vote for her. That is definitely what these people. I wonder
has anybody done any research on whether that's effective? Bringing
they say there's not, but I mean, how can you?
Well, these people are being followed by millions of people. I mean, think about it.
True.
They do. I mean, they like their music. They like everything that they're for. They stand for, and and some people are really, some people don't do their research honestly, and they look at somebody,
especially young people.
Exactly. They look at. I mean, think about it. Right now, how many celebrities have come up? All of a sudden within the last week, right? This is the hush. This is the end of the what do you call it? The big shebang, right? And you have 13, 14 of these artists with the huge influence just saying, hey, we're standing with Kamala.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the quality of the people that are endorsing each candidate, it's like it's night and day, guys. You had Brett Favre, right? Which you can I get it. The guy's just a football player, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, a total legend. But again, yes, I'm not saying that I'm gonna get my voting. I'm gonna be influenced by a football player, right? But the difference is when you have guys like Brett Favre, he's not just a football player. The guy's a smart guy. When you listen to them, even their speeches, they're able to articulate why they are supporting and endorsing the person they're endorsing.
They would never be stumped when the teleprompter stops working.
You're right.
They would go, "Hey, teleprompter's not working," and they go, "Let me just
I
talk from
don't
my
even
heart."
think
Yeah,
Brett
look up
Favre
that
had
video.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think Brett Favre had a teleprompter.
He probably did.
You know,
What's a teleprompter for him?
Yeah.
you know. But again, you know, when you look at the squad, the mega squad, the Avengers we got going on right now. I mean, think back to like back in 2006, where people were saying, I was thinking about this again today also. I know we're gonna go long, but it's okay. As long as you guys don't mind. You guys are good? Yeah. You know, if you guys remember back when Obama was running, he ran against John McCain the first time, right?
Right.
And the narrative was John McCain was too old. So how do you talk to any of these centrist people that get swayed every which way? If you ask them, why did you vote for Obama? Because I remember asking a lot of people, why did you vote for Obama? Because obviously, in the one hand, I mean, in hindsight, thank God that Obama won, honestly, because now, you know, we see where the path we've been on, right? We would have got John McCain. But when you look at it, just, okay, you have a war
Mitt
veteran.
Romney.
What?
Yeah, I'll get to him.
Mitt Romney.
You had a war veteran, and you had way more qualified to be president than Obama, who was a junior senator at the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like no experience at all. He was just black, and he talked nice, right?
J.D. Vance.
That's what he was. You cannot, Alfred, you cannot compare J.D. Vance with J.D. Vance is far more articulate, smart, well-spoken
Than Obama?
Easily. J.D. Vance, you could not get a more perfect speaker. Listen and try to find him pause or say or a
Initially,
he flows right through his conversation.
He can answer any question.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Long pauses.
Long pauses. That was an Obama speech, had a bunch of uhs in it. Okay.
I agree.
And a lot of pauses. JD just you sidetracked me, Alfred, with that. But what I was gonna say is that they convinced the people that John McCain was too old. So when you asked people, why did you vote for
Sarah ruined that for him, because Sarah Palin was such a nutty case, and people were like, "Oh,
I like Sarah Palin."
No,
Yeah.
I do.
I did it first.
No, I did it first too, but I just think she just kept inserting her foot in her mouth, and people just couldn't take her.
She's a hell of a lot smarter than Kamala.
Yeah, she is, and she actually turned out to be kind of an interesting person.
Yes,
but
yes.
she just.
Yeah.
The problem with Sarah Palin was that optically or audibly, her accent played right into the media being able to play her as an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the problem with her. But really, there was two things. Was Sarah Palin supposedly was an idiot, which she was not. She was a very smart woman, was more qualified than Obama to even be president because she was a governor.
Right.
She had more experience than he did, even if she was running against him. But they convinced the people that John McCain was too old and Sarah Palin was an idiot, right?
Yep.
So then now you get to Mitt Romney versus Obama. Thank God, Mitt Romney. It was the what was it, the book full of, was it the women? The book full of women's names. I think it was something
like that. And the
right?
dog that he had tied to the roof of his car.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was a big deal.
He's a cult member as far as I'm concerned, so that disqualifies him.
Yeah. So you have John McCain that was too old, but then we got Sleepy Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason that went away. Sleepy Joe wasn't too old, right? And then Mitt Romney was a woman. The names full of women.
What do we wait? I forgot. Why are we going down memory lane? What is that?
We're going down memory lane because I forgot.
I was like, where are we going? Because I forgot.
No, I think we were talking about. Oh God, Lee Ralford, I forgot what the point I was.
I thought you were going where Obama was young, so we need him as president, and then Biden comes in and he's like super old. They go, we need him as president.
Yeah, they just. Oh no, I think I was making the point of the layman middle of the road centrist.
Okay.
And this is how you have these problems because they're the ones that buy into all this nonsense, and we end up. But in hindsight, now we could look back and say, you know what? Thank God John McCain didn't win, because had John McCain, we would have never had Obama, which Obama led to basically Trump. We would not have had Trump without
Obama.
Oh, really?
Obama.
Interesting.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. We would have never got that because the
government would have continued spinning in its glorious little state.
Yes, we all
would have missed those
Benghazi.
days.
Yes.
Would I have missed those days?
Obama is the one, I don't know, he's the one that red pilled me, anyways. He's the one that started a lot of people realizing and being like, the government is kind of crazy. You know what I
We
mean?
can't trust them.
Yes, Obama's the one who kind of he went too far. The campaigns made it way too obvious. There was just hope. The whole hope and change thing.
That never happened. There
Right.
was never hope and there was never change.
His whole presidency woke up a lot of people to the fact that, our government is corrupt. And then I think that's how you got Trump.
And you could weaponize the government.
Yeah.
And you can.
Mhm. And
Well,
that's
you
how
know what? I mean, to all this is his third election. I mean, this is Obama's, doing here. I mean, we're seeing it. This is, I mean, think about it. We heard him on video saying, my biggest thing that I would like to. He said the greatest accomplishments. I think one of the greatest things that I would like to accomplish is to be able to run this nation in 3 terms.
No,
remember?
well, I think it was more along the lines that it'd be nice. It would be nice because they asked him, "Would you like to run for president
Exactly,
again, or
right,
would you,
exactly.
would you have liked to have another term?" And he said, "Only if I could basically sit back, right? Like he'd like to sit back and have somebody else do
it from home.
And he could
Mail
just
it.
sit back. Yeah, that's
I.e.
what he said.
Michelle.
Yeah, but anyway,
You mean Michael?
Whichever.
Yeah.
Have you seen those pictures of a schlong?
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
In the dresses.
Yeah, Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle/Michael.
Well, guys,
Sorry.
let's
On that note.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up. But yeah,
On the
guys,
Mr. Pickle note.
tomorrow's election day.
Yes.
Guys. So if
Vote
you're,
your values.
if you're still one of those people that are centrist, I don't understand. But get out there and vote for Trump. Make sure you take your family, everybody who is voting for Trump, take their ballot. It's totally legal to harvest.
Yep.
Okay.
We
Vote.
harvest our families.
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, I think. Well, my wife and then I kept harassing my kids.
I took like 15 with me.
Did you?
We all fed in the car. We all,
Oh, I
we're
thought you said
gonna do Latinos. We're gonna just fit as many as we can in our car and let's go.
Oh, you all squeezed in the
we
4-door
squeezed
sedan?
in. Yeah, everybody. looked like,
Whatever
"Whoa,
you
what
guys
is-"
got to
You
do.
got chorizo on the
all that, man.
Yeah.
all over
Let's
the
go tacos right after.
churro sugar all over
Churros.
everything.
Everything.
Yeah, and so
Should've
yeah.
seen me. You should have seen me in there with
Menudo.
my sarape, my noodle, everything.
Oh,
My
Yeah.
trash bag, everything. Look, where you got a trash bag? Look how many people we got. We gotta, we gotta clean after ourselves afterwards.
any enchiritos?
Yep.
Yeah,
Some
guys.
Cheetos.
Yeah, we
Jeez.
got to get out there and we're in for a ride, guys. So we
Yes.
got to make sure we're praying. We just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the deep state has planned or the left or whoever you believe in. The blob, I think they've been referred to.
The blob, I like that.
Somebody, I forgot who it was. I think it was I forgot who it was. It refers to him as the blob.
Yeah, it's a guest that was on Tucker. He
Was
calls
on
it the
Tucker?
blob. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
on
remember
Sean
his
Ryan
name.
too.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, so we got to pray. And yeah, don't forget to go to our channel at Unrestrained Podcast on YouTube and subscribe there. We're trying to get more subscribers on that channel so that we can go live there at some
Also-
point.
How do they find Andy?
Resurrectministry.com.
Yes, or the livingfearlessdevotional.com.
On YouTube, correct?
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spotify.
Real Life Network. Tomorrow night we'll be live on the Real Life Network with Pastor Jack Hibbs.
Oh,
at
okay.
Town
Yes.
Hall.
Oh,
He's doing during the
during the election?
During the election.
Okay, so
we'll
you
be
guys,
there. We don't know if we'll get on camera, but we'll be there at the studio.
okay, we'll go there, guys, and you guys can watch live. And yeah, we got to pray, guys. I got to be honest with you guys. I have a little bit of anxiety over what's going to happen, just because we just don't know what they're going to do, guys.
Of course.
And-
Either way, we don't know.
and how ugly it's going to get. I don't know. What do you guys think that if Trump wins, there's going to be violence?
Yes.
I think either way, there's going to be violence.
Yeah, I mean Antifa and if maybe they'll bring back BLM. Some of those people will come back.
Well, I'm seeing this already. I mean, some cities are already boarding up. They're boarding.
Yeah.
They're getting the big wall. Remember, we can't close the wall, but we are going to create a wall already in DC.
I'm more concerned about Trump not winning, just not being violence wise. I think it's more of a chance if Trump loses.
Yeah.
I don't think that the left is enthusiastic. If you notice, they haven't been out counter protesting anywhere. I think they said at Madison Square Garden in New York there was like 100 people
Yeah,
there.
it was
Okay.
weird.
If we go back to the other elections, people were being attacked walking in and out of the rallies. You have not had that happen at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
True.
why is that? Is that because they can't get the people that, Antifa is like, when's the last time you even heard of those guys, right?
Bro, they're running thin. Just think about it. You got to bus up all these people to all these rallies. Bro, they're thin.
I mean, they were paying them anyways, but I'm just wondering, like, has that many people been red pill? Is that an indicator? Is that a bellwether?
It's possible.
Bro,
But they might be somewhere training.
Exactly. I mean, listen, I'm hearing now. I'm hearing this everywhere. I'm looking at social media.
You're right.
I'm seeing this everywhere from different people that are actually going out and vote, and they're speaking to people. They're saying, "Bro, everybody's voting Trump." I don't know. Even in California, I mean, you got.
That's why I'm more concerned that if Trump loses, that it's not like the right to just randomly go out and start looting or anything like that. But I'm concerned that we'll have a repeat of January 6th, meaning not that nobody went out to riot, but where conservatives will gather and we will be set up again. And they will take advantage of that situation and put it in some. You know what I'm saying? They can start some stuff. So because people are going to, conservatives are going to want to take to the streets and protest. Like here in California, you don't think that Huntington Beach is going to be filled with a bunch of Trump supporters if he loses? They're not to destroy anything, but just to assemble, right?
Bad idea.
And that's going to be so I guess we should say it now. Bad idea, guys. Let's kind of wait it out. If we lose, let's kind of like see how it goes. Because Kamala, I think Kamala's going to be the most radical. What's to stop them now, guys? Nobody's gone to jail. Why not go 100%. All out?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, right now, you're hearing it. You're hearing that. They want to pack the courts. They want to continue to open up the borders. They want to change. Yeah. They want to get more justices in there. I mean, it's going to get crazy. But at the end of the day, man, Jesus is Lord, and we know He's coming soon. So get ready, prepared, pray for this nation. I mean, at the end of the day, think about it. What shocks me on this election is 31 million Christians are not going to vote. And every 4 years, I mean, just think about it. 31 million people just got blue pilled or whatever. They're centrics, right? Like just like Isaac said. I mean, they're not gonna go out and vote. Why not? I mean, we do this every 4 years, so why not do that? Who's telling this? Who's telling them not to? I guess is it really that for real? That
I think the problem is people that have this mentality that God is just gonna do what He's gonna do, as if you still have to be the hands and feet. You still have to do. You can't just stand by and allow for all the non-believers to vote their values and protect their values, which is gay marriage and transgendering children and murdering babies. So I just think at this point, it's not like we're just talking tax policy or regulations, right? Like that's not the only thing that's at stake.
Humanity's at stake.
Yes, exactly. It's like the attack on everything God values, everything that every godly principle is under attack. And as a believer, I don't understand how you can just stand by and not vote. And I think because I have had these conversations where it's like, well, Trump won't do it. That's just one issue, guys. Like one issue. And it's not like he's going to go out and promote abortion, right? It's not like if you vote for him, he's going to legalize abortion. So I don't understand why.
It shouldn't even be an issue because it's no longer federal.
It's no longer federal. So like, I don't even understand what the problem is, but we can beat it to death, guys. So we'll see what happens next week. If you guys want to come back, hopefully
we're all still alive.
Well, I don't know.
We won't be doing any more.
I was just going to say, Alfred, if Trump loses, this might be our last podcast.
Bro, I'm telling you. I mean, think about it.
I don't know if I'm willing to take a chance.
Having worked at the FBI, I'll give you one piece of advice before I go. If we lose, go underground. Do not be popping your head out and attending rallies. It's the worst thing in the world you could do. We got to lay low.
Lay low, Alfred. And this podcast will become the restrained podcast real quick.
Exactly.
You want to, Hedieh, you want to end in prayer?
Yeah.
For our nation?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Oh, dear Lord, thank you. Thank you for this time to spend with our brothers. And we just lift you up. We glorify your name. We ask for your mercy on the earth, on our country. We ask for your will to be done, Lord, not our will, but yours. We ask for respite from wrath that is due us, Lord. We stand in the gap. for all of those that do not yet know you, or those who are your enemies, Lord, and accept our prayers and bless our nation, and give us a president that will give us President Trump that will support our values and protect our country, Lord. We ask this in the name of your Son, in the glorious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, everyone. Well, we'll see you next week. Same bat channel. And hopefully that you guys come on, go out and vote. If it's your last day, you're waiting for the last hour, come on, guys. Go out there and vote. Make it count. All right. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.